Good morning and you're welcome to the Key Points. My name is Jifa Bampo and it's another Saturday on Key Points, and I want to thank you all for the privilege of your company today, the 25th of September 2021. Now, for journalists, this week is what we call a good news week. Lots of excitement and anguish with the release of the MMDC's list. The aftermath was not unexpected. There was drama, surprises, agitation, and criticisms of some of the decisions made. We'll delve deeper into those outcomes and the future of local governance in the country. The last 24 hours has also seen the nation transfixed about the, quote, kidnapped Takoradi woman and her subsequent confession, recanting claims she was pregnant and was kidnapped. This drama, which unfolded all week from the Western region, has raised lots of questions about what the truth is, who is involved, and what's the credibility of the police's account. Or has Josephine Mensah buckled under pressure? That's our menu this morning. Also, congratulations certainly are in order for the GFA, which adored Milovan Rayevac as Black Stars coach. Thank you for joining us today on the Key Points. We are live on TV3 and 3FM 92.7. We're also live around the world at 3news.com. You can follow us on our Facebook page as well. If you're on the road and your phone is fixed, just go to TV3 Ghana. Between now and 10 a.m., I look forward to hear from you via our WhatsApp line. That's 055-369-8789. You can tweet at TV3 at TV3_Ghana and at 3FM 92.7. You can also tweet at me at Beho Bampo, and I'm happy to read your message. Always happy to hear from you. So send your messages quickly because I'm sure you already have your views. You can join in the conversation by adding the hashtag the Key Points. We take a quick break. We'll be right back with our guests.
Graphic Communications Group Limited and Grader, in partnership with Orano Projects and Consults, brings to you Real Estate Housing Fair Experience, happening on Thursday 23rd to Saturday 25th September 2021 at the National Theatre from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. each day. Do you want to rent, build or buy a house? Then don't miss out on this one-stop housing mall where all your questions and housing needs will be answered. Attractions, super deals and offers from your favorite real estate developers, super packages from your favorite mortgage and home financiers, beautiful pieces for your home furnishing and decor from your favorite furnishing and decor brands, durable and affordable housing input supplies from your favorite brands. Oh yes, everything you ever needed to get all your housing needs fixed, all at one stop on Thursday 23rd to Saturday 25th of September at the National Theatre. See you there. This fair is endorsed and supported by, for enquiries call 0507 067988 or 0202 825557.
Introducing Nestle Milo All-in-One Nutrimix. The goodness of malt, milk and cocoa in Milo, and even more milk. Just add to water and enjoy the perfect cup of winning energy. Milo!
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by...
From 16 beautiful and intelligent women, 6 have made it to the ultimate grand finale of GMB 2021. Who will be crowned Ghana's most beautiful queen 2021? Sunday, 3rd October. Is it Safwa, Manu, Akosia, Mfojo, Settle, Wedaga? Vote for your favorite via short code *713*13# GMB, rediscovering true beauty.
And is sponsored by Lavon's Tomato Mix, Camel now from Kerex, Freedom from Casapreco, GTP, Darling Lemon Drink, Airtel Tigo's Big Time Bundles,
Lufat,
Deluxy Acrylic Paint, Heaven Black Mosquito Spray and Coil, and Napa Mackerel.
Geisha, Close Up,
Ayo Insurance, Fun Milk Nutri-Day Yogurt, and supported by
Connect FM Watson Trade Fair in Chamakai or Badubio. Now, famous and now. Jita was a great day. No was a boy in if you ground so hot. Connect FM Watson Trade Fair. Or Shasu Kuda, 29 September. Na Yevienu Kusida, 3rd October. What's up, Clademo Nayamwa? Company Sakasin and Jumokuka Kramba, and I want to offer in Naru Baby. I was at on Mamma Katake Pa. Boloncho, Nasan for Tanasi. Francis Ramaya register away 0244 244 027 and 0545 572 856. Connect FM Watson Trade Fair. Kade on your 29th September, 6th October. What a Clademo Nayim. And now what for your Clademo? Connect FM Watson Trade Fair. What's the food and the pronya?
The Saturday mornings will never be the same again.
We will bring you the best mix of sports and lifestyle content on Warm Up Plus.
We will interview exciting professionals from different fields of endeavor, including sports and fitness. Give fans an opportunity to show their passion and preview upcoming games.
Discuss what's trending in the world of sports and entertainment, give you lifestyle tips, serve you music, exercise, dance, laugh, and have an absolute ball on TV each Saturday.
So whether you're a fan or you just like fun,
you will absolutely love Warm Up Plus.
Warm Up Plus shows live Saturdays at 10 a.m. only on TV3.
This Saturday on Celebrity Fun Time.
how can you win with this dance? The world will crack again.
You don't know about it.
This is what, if you should have told me, then I will know how I'll come.
Okay. Right. Give 2 extra points for that.
Celebrity Fun Time this Saturday, 5 p.m. on TV3. Brought to you by
This Saturday on Music.
This year, we know come to play.
So are you ready for Unsigned Hype?
Too much calling. When my baby know they pick up.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sister Efia.
If I say I love you, no be say you're a fool.
You mentioned a while ago that you have a set period for music.
F-E-T.
Yes, flex.
You see my back, Jaja. See my front, Jaja. Send you with that, now you know. Send you with that, now you know. Send you with that, now you know.
Music shows every Saturday at 8 p.m. on TV3. Don't miss it.
You're welcome back. So the outcome of the MMDC announcements was generally calm, but there were pockets of violence, mainly within the heart of Accra and in Shreponi. We know 13 people were arrested. Shreponi is in the northeast region. Also resurrected was the criticism of government over a lack of representation and a commission district for the people of Sal, as well as whether the case for the election of MMDCs on a partisan basis is now, more relevant and stronger than ever. Now, the governing NPP have initiated steps to calm agitated supporters, while some of the disappointed MMDCs have condemned the violence and urged support for those who've triumphed. So now let's look at, all these issues relating to the MMDCs. Our guests this morning, we have the Honorable Obi Amwa, Deputy Minister for Local Government. Yes. Good morning, Honorable.
Good morning,
and thank you for making some time for us today.
Good morning.
Great.
I'm happy to be here.
Thank you.
And good to see you.
Yes,
you used to be on radio.
Yes.
As well.
We also have Dr. Richard Fiadomo, who is the President of the Chamber of Local Governance, who will join us. And we will also have the NDC's Abraham Amaleba, who is the Director of the NDC's legal team. We'll also speak to the first nominee to be confirmed, Mr. Bismarck Nkum of Gomwa West. But first, let me turn to Honorable Obi Amwa. So it's really been quite a busy week for you. Certainly.
And of course, the media would want to speak to us everywhere. Mm-hmm. It's really hectic.
Yeah.
It's good. At least we discuss these things and get to know what exactly the situation is. Of course, everybody was waiting for the announcement.
It was a much anticipated list.
Except that there were a few misconceptions. You hear most people saying that it's taking the president 9 months to be able to appoint the MMDCs. Mm-hmm. That is actually not the situation, because MMDCs are appointed for 4 years until they are removed or they die or resign, as provided in the Constitution, Article 243(3). So for the tenure of MMDCs, it's 4 years, but the president has the right to take them out or they can resign. So most of the MMDCs were really appointed between June and July. So if the president says that they should carry on till maybe their tenure is over, then you cannot say that they should start from January. Unlike ministers, those in the executive, which is listed under the Presidential Transition Act, who were supposed to leave office literally by midnight 6 January. So come 7 January, I was no more deputy minister. But for DCs, they could continue because I have a copy of it here so that we have this Presidential Transition Act, Act 845. And under the schedule, based on section 14, a list has been provided of those who have to leave office by 7 January. It doesn't include MMDCs. So if you're appointed June 2017 as a chief executive, the president could let you run your full term, and that will be June 2021. So it's after June 2021 that we could say that if your term has ended, the president should replace you or reconfirm you, or as he did, ask some of them to act to be appointed.
Yes, but that is the issue. If you ask some of them to act, then it gives the view that then they are no more in the firm capacity to undertake certain activities. They can't take major policy decisions. So if I was appointed in June 2017
and your term ends in June 2021, yes.
But yet the president,
until you're replaced.
Yes, but yet the president writes and says, don't take any policy decision until the appointees are done.
Not really policy decisions, but the point I wanted to make was the fact that we should not start counting from January. Okay. We should look at the specific issues. When did the person come into office? Some May, some June, some July. Mm-hmm. Some even came in 2018, which means that they hadn't even run their 4 years. But so if we put that in context, it will not be that after all, in 2013, President Mahama appointed his MMDCs in July, when he came into office in January, because he allowed some of them to run their term, those who appointed under Professor Mills. And Professor Mills appointed some of them March, April. By July 2013, President Mahama appointed. These things, we have to find a way of streamlining them because they seem to be a bit confusing.
Yes,
but
there are some inconsistencies.
But the Constitution is very clear that your tenure is 4 years.
4 years. So irrespective of when you start.
Irrespective of when you start, irrespective of even the president in office, except that the president can remove you.
Yes.
So he comes into office and decides that you haven't served 4 years, but I have the power to remove you and takes you off. So if you put that in context.
What would be the way to streamline it, as you say? Last week we had Dr. Fiadomo and he will join us today. But one of the things he did say was we needed to have proper legislative guidelines that, you know, provides guidance in how these things are done. Is that something the local government ministry will be looking at going forward?
Well, we have the guidelines in the Presidential Transition Act. The MMDCs are supposed to do their handing over notes with ministers, etc., 6 months before elections. But when it comes to leaving office, they are not listed under the schedule as those who should leave by 7 January, meaning that it's recognized in the Constitution that you can run your full term, just like a member of parliament, except that ours is guided in a way that
it's coterminous with the president.
With the presidents, which is not the case with MMDCs. And probably there's a reason for it, because the Constitution also says that the elections for assemblies should not be at the same time as elections for president and parliamentary candidates. There should be a gap, minimum of 6 months. So probably there's a reason for it. But what I'm saying is that if you look at the Act itself, it provides for some of these things. The way forward probably will be election for MMDCs. That one we know when you were elected, and the law will provide for when your term will end. But if you leave it that 4 years, but the president can remove the person before the tenure is up, some of these things can happen. And then when there's even no fixed guideline as to who should take charge of the assembly when the tenure ends, then you see that there's a lacuna, there's a gap which has to be filled. So obviously we can still fine-tune the legislative
within the legislative context that we have now, to at least know that this is the way we should go.
Yes.
I think that this is one of the few times, or the first time really, that these issues have been thrown up significantly about the tenure, what the MMDCs are able to do.
Part of it is lack of understanding of the
system.
Even how the legislation has been couched. Part of the problem. You listen to people, you see that they have not taken made special attention to the legislation.
The Presidential Transition Act.
That is part of the problem. So everybody thought, hey, once the president is in January, a few months, a few weeks, he should start announcing MMDCs. But he has the leeway to let them run their course, and he has more time to decide who should run the districts.
Now, you talk about the president having some leeway, and so he should not be in a rush because their term is not coterminous with his. There's criticism of this recent process that the president has taken his time because he wants to make a case for change. A case for change in how MMDCs get into those positions, and that is through election.
Well, the president,
because obviously, yes, he has the right to appoint, he has the right to hire and fire, but then even if it's 3 months or 4 for a second term, there's a criticism that that could have been better managed.
The president has not hidden his agenda. As far as is concerned, MMDC should be elected. Indeed, when...
On a partisan basis.
On a partisan basis, we come there. In 2017, he said he thought that was the last time that he was appointing MMDCs. He's made it clear that he thinks that the way forward is to get MMDCs elected. But that doesn't mean that it's to punish us for not agreeing that they should be elected, so he's also delaying the process. He opened the space so wide that people even felt that he was being too democratic, in a sense that some places he had 19 persons who had expressed interest in that one particular position. And these 19 persons, then guidelines were given that for the regional ministers to receive the applications, they should also have some interaction with them and then bring the number down to 4. So for each district, 4 persons' names were submitted. The president was not obliged to even do that. He could have just sat down and said, this is my list. That's what the Constitution empowers him to do. Except that he thought people should show interest, and I'm opening it up. And some of the issues we can even look at is, if 19 persons applied, and then let's say 15 were cut off, the followers of the 15, we didn't hear anything about being disappointed or being rejected. So if it's cut down to 4, and 1 is picked, you don't think the other 3 should have their followers all over the place, creating a lot of unnecessary tension and sometimes even violence. That's one aspect that we have to look at. But we should also look at the fact that this is not the first time this is happening.
Oh, certainly.
Every time
appointments are made, people are unhappy, even sometimes for ministerial appointments.
Yes. But particularly for MMDCs. I was going through the archives more or less. And your former station, if you allow me to refer to Joy. Joy interviewed a regional chairman in 2013. And the words he used, I looked at it, I was amazed that these were based on parochial interests and ethnic interests, considerations, and that we should look at it. And I made some quotations here. I couldn't believe it. This has not happened now. But just to let you know that anytime there are these appointments and announcements, sometimes all over the country, some people express their disappointment, which is their democratic right. But it should not get to the extent of being violent or breaking the law. If you do that, then it's gone beyond the democracy that you are also preaching. Right. In which case, you can be arrested and prosecuted.
Okay, so I'll come back to you on 2 specific cases where there was a claim that those who've emerged as MMDCs in those positions were not even on the short lists, so that you can give us a bit more clarity about that process. But let's see if we can have Dr. Fiadomo, who is the president of the Chamber of Local Governance, joining us by audio. Good morning, Dr. Fiadomo. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you very much. So last week you were here and it was quite a hot discussion about the soon-to-be announced then MMDC's list. Now it's been announced. Generally, it's been calm, but of course, there have been pockets of violence and disagreements. We've seen that in the heart of Accra. We've also seen that in Chereponi, in the northeast region. What's been your view, looking at how the week has gone since the announcements were made and what the reactions have been?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think that since the names were announced, of course, there have been pockets of violence, as you have said, and the Deputy Minister rightly said. We will also say that this is the first time that MMDCs have been appointed and there have been pockets of violence. But what happened this time around, which for us is unprecedented, is the leakage of the vetting committee's report to the president. And you and I and the public were indeed privy to information that should have been exclusive to the president. So now, technically speaking, whoever leaked that list just tie the hands of the president. But we know that per Article 2431 of Ghana's Constitution, it is the president who has the sole prerogative to nominate MMDCs. And even though a president puts in place a committee, there is no law enjoining or trying to ask the president to necessarily go according to the reports that come from the vetting committee. The president can also exercise discretion. And that is why we think that some of this violence were as a result. It was so spontaneous because people were expecting people who have been recommended by the vetting committee to be named by the president, but the president did otherwise. And I must be quick to say that the president has done no wrong in nominating people who were not even part of the vetting process, because it is his prerogative to nominate or appoint MMDC. So yes, there has been violence in the past, but the spontaneity with this particular one that we see is because of the leakage earlier of the vetting committee's reports.
You said the president has done no wrong in appointing people who were not on the final vet list. But it raises the question of fairness, because some people would have gone through a certain process. I mean, for right or wrong, at least they faced the committee. So if someone was eventually appointed and he or she did not go through that review process, I'm just wondering, within the spirit of natural justice, it may not be fair.
Yeah, to some extent, I agree with you. But constitutionally, it is the president who is mandated to nominate. And the constitution does not talk about any processes leading to the nomination. So it was at the discretion of the president to put in place a vetting committee, while vetting was done at the region and also done at the national level. So obviously, like I said the last time, the president has intelligence information which you and I do not have. So even if the vetting committee recommends somebody to be appointed or nominated by the president, I believe, will also do some form of due diligence on the person. And so if national security or BNI think that this person that has recommended may not be good, ultimately, if he is nominated by the president, I'm sure they will give the president a security advice and he will also act appropriately. But all that we are just saying is that whoever leaked that list technically just tried to usurp the powers of the president to nominate MMDCs. And we also know that the president was not enjoined by any law to necessarily go by the committee's report. So yes, we agree, but I do not know the extent to which it is widespread, where people who did not take part in the vetting process have been nominated by the president. I do not know the extent to which.
It's not widespread. As far as I know, it's just 2 instances that are being mentioned for the case, of course, for the AMA or for Greater Accra, and then also for Triponi, which Honorable Obi Amwa will answer. But one of the things you did mention last week, and you took a very strong position on it, was the timeline that it has taken for the president to undertake these appointments. And you mentioned 9 months. Last week, Honorable Boabing Asamoah disagreed that it's about 3-4 months. But today, Honorable Obi Amwa, who is the Deputy Minister for Local Government, has been also given a different and interesting perspective, where he talks about the fact that the roles or the terms of the MMDCs are not coterminous with the president, and that even if he is not fully in office, they remain in office until their term ends. The fact that they may not be allowed to take policy decisions, it's neither here nor there. So they remain in their positions until their term ends, and then he can take his time to make these appointments. And he refers to the Presidential Transition Act that gives that leeway to the president. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, thank you. I think this has been a consistent formation coming from the government, and will not begrudge them. But as far as we are concerned, and I heard you trying to.
Hello, Dr. Fiodomo. Okay, I think we've lost him on audio. We'll get him back, definitely. But let me come to Honorable Obi Amwa. Very interesting thoughts there from Dr. Fiodomo.
Yes.
Because he mentions, and I think that's a good thing for debate, about the appointments.
Yes.
The issue of the leakage of that document, I understand an investigation is going on?
Well, obviously, we will have to find out why that document came out, even though it doesn't mean that I confirm that that is the document.
That is the document,
yes.
Sure.
But the media more or less engage in speculation at a certain point, because different lists came out every time. Different lists were being churned out by various stations at every time. And we were wondering whether these were indeed authentic. And of course, some of us knew that some of the names that they were putting out were not the names to be mentioned. But of course, the prerogative is the president, is for him to announce these names. And about those not on
so we know Accra, because this unauthenticated document recommended the AMA chief executive then, J. Soa. But then it was quite a surprise to have another name come through, the Honorable Elizabeth Saki. Then you had Triponi, where there's been a dispute over even the membership of this individual, the lady, to your party. And so the party grassroots have been quite vehement in their opposition, saying that it's not even whether she was even on the list or not. They don't even believe that she's part of their party. Are you able to clear that up for us?
Well, the reality is that the only appointing authority is the president. He sets up a committee. They only recommend.
He's not obliged or bound by
just
their
like any institution. Even your place here, you may set up a committee, and the report comes. The person who's supposed to take action on the report may decide that this is not what I want. So, and for others to, the president may even call some persons and tell them that I want you to go and run this district, even if you haven't shown interest by appearing before my committee. Let's discuss it. At the end of the day, the person will be convinced that, okay, if you appoint me, I'll take up the challenge. So there's something like having a list. It's unlike, let's say, appointment of ministers, where the Constitution says that prior approval from Parliament. So we have to appear before Parliament.
And then, of course, at least 50% of them must come from Parliament.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in that case, you say that your name has been mentioned, you have appeared before Parliament, you've been approved, so you will become a minister, even though the president can change you anytime. Unlike that one, this one, the president doesn't have any obligation to get a list in place, or once you've appeared before a vetting committee, that means that those who didn't appear before that committee should not have any chance at all from being appointed by the president.
Would you say that the president, and I know it may seem unfair to imagine this, but would it be fair to say that maybe the president may sometimes be informed about some of these agitations? For instance, in Tema, we know that some of the chiefs and peoples were against Mr. Boateng also in the area, and had insisted that they wanted an indigent to come from there. And this was even prior to really the announcement. I think it was after information seemed to suggest that it would not be, the individual being chosen was not an indigenous gang.
Was a non-gang.
Yes.
Yes, the president will have to take into consideration several factors. And some of these things, they will weigh on his decision, because you will not say that he will not look at all these things and think that this is the best position for him and for the country. And as to chiefs coming in, a lot of chiefs would have sent petitions to the president. He may take some, he may not take some. And it's all over the country, not only the TMA situation. So once the decision has been made, the rest is for the assembly to also vote. And if the person secures the 2/3 minimum vote, then the person has been endorsed.
So what about Treponi?
Well, Treponi, what is coming out is that some persons were claiming that in 2016, the nominee campaigned for a different party, to be precise, NDC. But by 2020, he was actively campaigning for MPP. And they want to know whether within the 4 years he had changed parties or secured a party card. These things can be looked through, can be investigated. But the reality is that this is the name the president has announced. And then the rest is to go through the process. If the assembly endorses her, she becomes the chief executive. But the president has every right to say that for whatever months you serve, I can change you, or you stay on for the 4 years as mandated by the Constitution. So some of these things, it cuts across. Sometimes
if it comes up like this, does the local government ministry get involved in trying to, strip through what is facts, what should be the way forward?
Well, we all work for the president. And sometimes if he would ask for information, it will not only be from the local government ministry. National security, all those, even the regional ministers may provide the information. But at the end of the day, he takes the decision, and then we go by it. If for any reason the assembly votes for a number of times and they still don't want the nominee, then the president may be convinced that he should appoint
yes,
or
that's
nominate
if the
a new
person fails to go through 3 times.
Not necessarily 3 times. It's not stated anywhere.
Okay, that's the convention we've come to know.
Yeah, so you're talking about convention. I'm talking about
what's in the law. Okay, so then hold that thought, and I'll come to that because
so there's a procedure.
Okay, so hold that thought. We'll come to that because the elections have started. But let me take Dr. Fiadomo. Yes, Dr. Fiadomo. Sorry, you were making the point about the timeline for the nomination of the MMDCEs until your line broke.
Yeah, thank you. I was basically saying that it has been the progress from government and government spokesperson that the delay is not 9 months. And I heard the minister talk about the fact that the position of the MMDCs are not coterminous with that of the president. And so clearly they are not part of the Article 71 office holders. Now, and so what was the basis for the president writing to the MMDCs on the 11th of January, asking them to move from substantive position into acting position, where he made direct reference to the Presidential Transition Act. So what was the purpose for that? So I do not understand why my term of office is not coterminous with that of the president. I have not finished serving my term, like you rightly said. All MMDCs are supposed to serve 4 years. Of course, they can be removed by the president, they can resign, or if there's death, or the General Assembly by two-thirds majority present and voting can also.
You should have been here.
Unfortunately, the line is not our best friend today, so I hope that we can fix that. Honorable Amoah, so the elections of the nominees have started.
Yes.
What's your outlook for that?
Well, a few started yesterday, and so far it's only Yendi that we've heard that the person did not get a minimum 2 tests.
Yes.
And for other places, the persons have been endorsed.
Yes.
For some places, 100%.
So Goma West District,
well,
and then Yaja Dawuni Robert for Gusho.
Yes.
Yes, they've been confirmed. He has 100%.
Yes, in Ashanti region too, I think Chuma or Yaja, 100%. And most of them will start from Monday. The Electoral Commission has received a program from the regional ministers as to how they want to conduct the elections. So from Monday, most of the assemblies will hold the elections, and we are hopeful that most of them will cross the 2 tests, except that the president has the opportunity to renominate the person if he doesn't get the 2 tests.
Okay, so you were telling me it's not 3 times. So,
yes.
Because those of us who at least have a bit of institutional memory know that sometimes if you don't get the 2/3 the 3rd time, then the president has to re-nominate. Tell us what is...
Well, if you look at our model standing orders, one which was made in 2019, we had an earlier one, but the 2019 is a recent model standing orders. And Order 15, it provides the procedure for approval of nominee of a president. So the first is where the person gets the 2 tests. The EC will write to the president that these persons have gone through. Where the person gets 50% or more, the procedure is that within 10 days, they can go for the elections again. The president doesn't need to say that I've re-nominated him within 10 days. But if you read Order 7 or 15.7, it says any nominee who at any time fails to pool 50% of the votes of the members present and voting may be renominated on reasonable grounds or may be withdrawn by the president. So it's not automatic. It's not written anywhere that the president, after 3 times, but it's only reasonable.
That you give it some time.
Yes, especially if, let's say, the person pulls 10%.
Or maybe the margins are small.
Yes. No, I mean, if the person's the vote is very low.
Low, okay.
The president may decide that this person cannot go through.
Okay.
No matter how many times I have to.
they contest.
Yes. So let me renominate or let me nominate another person. But if it's close, the president may say that I'm sure after still talking to the people in the assembly, this person may go through. So let me submit his name again. That is the third time. So as I said, it's not that by the third time the president has to, as you put it, has to means that he's obliged. Sure. But this one is may. May withdraw or may renominate. That's how we should look at it.
All right. We have on the line now Ms. Honorable Basi Nkum. He is the Gomoa West District Chief Executive. He joins us on the line. Good morning to you, Honorable Nkum.
I can hardly hear you.
How are you, sir?
I'm good.
Great. If you can just speak up a little louder. So, congratulations are in order. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
All right. So we're told that you were the first kind of to be approved by the Gomoa West Assembly in line with all the elections, in line with all the processes that have begun. But we know that a lot of it will start on Monday. So first, getting through, were you optimistic you were getting through, or you had to kind of lobby the assembly members to be sure you would go through?
Thank you. Good morning to your listeners. And let me first of all express my appreciation to His Excellency the President who gave me this opportunity. And let me say that the President in his first term also gave me the same opportunity, and in my own estimation, I think I did a very good job. So I was always expecting that if the criteria for renomination is based on what we have done, then I will not be satisfied, and that is why I'm happy that I have been renominated. So I knew this was coming, and so I have been working on my confirmation in the past 3-4 months, engaging chiefs, engaging assembly members, engaging other stakeholders, and making sure that we were good to go as soon as the nominations were announced. And so, yes, we were even going to do this on Tuesday, but unfortunately Tuesday was a holiday, and then we needed to wait and communicate again on Wednesday before we could do it on Thursday. So I was very, very optimistic that the relationship I had kept with my assembly members, the work I have done, and all that, if they were going to be very objective, then they were not going to fail the president by voting against his nominee. I was also very optimistic that I was not going to make 100% because I have been in office before, and I have taken decisions, and normally as a leader, you take a decision in the interest of the greater good of the people. And you always have the minority few who will not be happy with you. And so, yes, I knew I was going to sail through, but I also knew I wasn't going to get 100%. So I am very, very much comfortable with a 75% endorsement also.
All right. Now, one of the things that people look out for at the local governance level is accountability to the people, because there's a view that you're almost really mini presidents in your district. How are you going to ensure that you are truly accountable to the people that you are serving, knowing that there are lots of interest groups? There's the member of parliament, there are the things he wants to do, he or she wants to do as well, and there's the agenda that you're seeking to push through for the president.
In fact, that is what I have been doing. To be accountable to the people also calls for greater engagement with the people, with stakeholders at a very local level. And that is what local government is really, really about. And so almost every quarter of the 78 communities within my jurisdiction, I am able to visit all, I'm able to engage chiefs, I'm able to engage from the very least to the very highest person in our community. So this is what you do. Once you engage them, they have questions, they ask, you also respond to the person. But you don't also have to do direct engagement. That is why the assembly members are also there. You communicate to the localities also through the assembly members. So yes, that is what local government is about. So if you ask me, it's just about having the regular encounter with the people, giving them the opportunity to ask questions, giving them the opportunity also to make an input. In fact, in terms of the budget preparation, your budget wouldn't be approved, for example, if the people at the very local level are not made to participate in the process. And that is why there is what we call budget hearing. In terms of the preparation of the medium-term development plan, you can't do this without engaging the area councils, without engaging our market women, without engaging our fishermen, without engaging other interest groups within the district. And this is what I do. It's my routine duty. And so that is it. This is how we will be accountable to the people.
Now, there's the local government service, and they sign a performance contract with MMDCs. They release.
To be very honest with you, I am struggling to hear you.
Okay, I'll try.
Hard from my end to hear you.
All right, I'll try to speak up a bit louder. So I know that the local government service signs a performance contract with the MMDCEs, and it leads to the release of the league table. The last league table was released some 2 or 3 months ago. Central Region was like what, number 4, number 5? I know your district will have its individual rankings, but looking at the performance contract, what is your view about ensuring that you meet those targets?
So yes, the performance contract, the KPIs, which is the key performance indicators, are also taken from our own budget. So to ensure that you hit the target is to operationalize your budget with the timelines that you have granted. And once you are able to do that, then you are likely to achieve your target. Let me say that when I assumed office as district chief executive, for example, the same district league table at the time we have 215 metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies. Gumawes was occupying the bottom. That is 216 out of 216. If you look at the recent one that was released, we have climbed up the ladder to 147. Obviously, there are things that we are doing well. If you take education, for example, in 2014, at the basic level, the pass rate was 35%. 2015 pass rate was 37%. And then in 2016, we did quite well. Pass rate was 52%. In the last 4 years, we have grown the pass rate now to almost 70%, specifically 69.6. What we are working on is to ensure that in the next 4 years, we're able to get 90% pass rate. What it then means is that our children who graduate from the basic level, all of them will now have the opportunity to go through the senior high education and indeed to meet the aspiration of His Excellency the President and as the country, that we want everybody to be out of the illiteracy bracket. So this is, for example, what we are doing. We also undertook other projects. The attrition rate of teachers in the district was very, very high because teachers were not getting decent accommodation. If they were able to get one, it was difficult for them to have access to bathrooms. It was difficult for them to have access to kitchens. And so you normally find that they will normally try to use themselves in the public space, whether bush or whatever. So we decided that we were going to have a lot of teachers' quarters around the place. So far, in the last 4 years, we've been able to do about 5 or 6. The initial plan could only accommodate 3 teachers. Now we have changed that, and it is now accommodating 6 teachers. So these are the things that we have put in place. In terms of water, provision of water, we had a whole section of the district that struggled to get water, involving about 10 communities. The district assembly, liaising together with the World Bank and the Regional Coordinating Council, we were able to provide water to these 10 communities, and now, thankfully, all of them have access to potable water. In terms of security, In terms of security, our district is rated the best in terms of security in the region. So I am quite optimistic that we have done very well and will continue to do what we need to do. We are not perfect yet. There are still room for improvement, and that is what this term goes for us, to take advantage of opportunities available and be able to meet those performance contracts, especially the key performance indicators therein.
All right. And thank you very much, Honorable Nkum, for speaking to us. We wish you all the best in your new role.
Thank you. Thank you. And it is good to know that as at Thursday, I was the only district chief executive in the country.
Yes, and that's why we've spoken to you this morning. I'm sure we'll be engaging in the days and months ahead. And that's Honorable Nkum there. Clearly, he seems to understand and know his stuff in terms of
he failed to inform you that he's the president of NALAC.
NALAC, he's the president of NALAC. Okay, yes. Great. So you're optimistic that a lot of the MMDCs will go through?
Yes.
Do you have a projection? Are you able to anticipate areas where you know that maybe there will be no success, and so you have plans for that? Well,
it's a bit early, but we should also take into consideration the fact that there are some assemblies where our friends from the other side dominate. So sometimes it impedes the smooth endorsement of some of these nominees. Except that some places too, they've come out, even though we appreciate that they dominate assemblies, they've come
to generally support whoever has been nominated. Yes.
But it's too early to maybe give you a picture that maybe 80% will go through. We are hoping, after all, 128 of such persons were renominated. And we're hoping that they are familiar with their assembly members, they know the work they've done, and all things being equal, they will give them the pass mark. For the new ones who are coming in, some are very popular, some people are hailing the appointment by the president, so we also believe that they should sail through. Obviously, it will be a bit optimistic to think that every assembly will endorse the...
Oh, certainly not all the 260, but maybe you can say what? Maybe 200? 230?
I don't want to be quoted. That you come back and say that you said 230
and now it's only 100. I get that.
But they are working. They are appealing to assembly members. They are going to them, and the easier ones will be done with within maybe 10 days. The more difficult ones, maybe there will be more consultation
before the process begins, just to ensure that the individual goes through.
Yes.
All right, we have some tweets, and when I come back to you, I'll ask you about what the big agenda is going forward for election of MMDCEs. But let me read some of the tweets that have come through. It says, the issues about the rioting NPP folks is about Edidija, meaning some supporters have been left hungry. I'm not a doomsayer, but I can say that we should expect some more of this in the days ahead as effort is made to get approval. That's from Prince Henry in Koforidua. Farouk from Tamale writes, good morning. It would be good if stakeholders can agree on the election of our MMDCEs to strengthen our democratic dispensation at the local level and to curb the unnecessary agitations among party supporters. Farouk, you didn't say specifically if you were just looking for a general election or the election of MMDCEs on partisan basis. It would be good to hear your view about that. Aziz from WA writes, the disappointment in some parts of the country is a manifestation of the poor governance by the government. Indeed, the rejection of the Yendi MCE shows that the president didn't work with the committee report. And those were some of your messages. Thank you very much. Care to comment on the Yendi MCE rejection? Are there any peculiarities within that area that meant that the individual wouldn't go through? They point to the committee report.
Not necessarily. I think he was renominated. So he's an incumbent. And for these things, sometimes some persons may be dissatisfied with how he ran the place. Some persons will think that he should carry on. And he's gone through the first one. We're hoping that he will still do more consultation.
So that the second one will go through.
And that should be it.
Okay, let's speak to the head of the NDC's legal team, Abraham Amaliba, who joins us live now. Good morning to you, Mr. Amaliba. Many thanks for speaking with us. So now that the MMDCs have been appointed and the list has been made public, what does the NDC see as the way ahead in terms of local governance?
Good morning, Gisela. Your question is what is the way forward for who?
I'm asking, what do you see as the way forward for local governance now that these MMDCs, after quite a long wait, have been appointed?
Well, better late than never. This has taken so long in coming. The assemblies were without MMDCs for close to 9 months.
But Honorable Amwa has addressed that their role is not coterminous with the president based on the presidential transition. They have a 4-year term and they were just waiting out their term in as much as they were not taking key policy decisions. They were administering the assemblies nonetheless.
Perfect.
The government disputes that position.
The tenure of office ended 4 years. And so you had a situation where those assemblies were without DCEs. And
but why do you say they were without DCEs? They were acting. Why do you say they were without DCEs? They were acting.
No. So they were without DCEs, and also a statement from the Chief of Staff saying that some people should continue to act, but they can't take some key policy decisions. And I thought that was a retrogression. And so if you have them now nominated and they are going through the process, I think that we are getting back to normalization, and that is how I see it.
Now, one of the things being said is the president still has on his plate to try and push through the agenda of the election of MMDCEs. There's a view that this recent appointment process has made stronger the argument that we have the MMDCs elected on a partisan basis, so that we don't also see some of the agitations or disagreements. The election will be done, whoever triumphs comes out of it, and we move on.
We cannot use the inability of the president to appoint MMDCs as a reason for calling for the politicization of our lower strata of our governance. I don't think that the inability or the lack of capacity by the president to do this nomination is enough to then politicize our lower structures. Our lower structures are places that you would expect that you will not politicize those structures, and then at the district level you have all people, irrespective of political divide, can approach the district assembly for your needs. Now, you have a situation where people are calling for the politicization of that structure. That old lady, who normally would have woken up and go to the district coordinating director's office or the planning officer's office to, as it were, have his needs addressed, will now feel that that assembly is an assembly for a certain political party, and that when he goes there, he will not be listened to. And so, if it is not broken, why do you fix it? The president's inability, in this case, to do this appointment without any hiccups was as a result of his own method used in appointing the DCE. The president is the sole appointer of this DCE. The reason for which he has decided to constitute a committee to do vetting and interview people and then have those persons who would have performed well sidelined, and then new people are brought in. It's the doing of the president which has resulted into what we are seeing, this agitation.
But Mr. Maliba, I think it may seem unfair. Hold on, sir. Hold on, sir. Just a quick point. It may seem unfair to say that it is the process the president adopted. What's wrong with being consultative? What's wrong with being a bit more thorough than maybe he may have been in the first term?
So that's where I'm coming to. If you, Jifa, is called for an interview, and you go for that interview and perform very well to the satisfaction of the interviewer, now you, the person who has gone for the interview, would have a legitimate reason to expect that the job will be given to you. You have that legitimate expectation. Particularly when a list has already come out indicating that you were the one who was chosen. These people have their followers. Naturally, when the disappointment comes after you've been slated or you've been selected after the interview, clearly people will vent out their frustration. So I'm saying that it is the modus operandi, the method used. What stopped the president from saying we have 260 district assemblies? Each week, because we use 9 months, and this method I'm trying to outline will also not be far from the 9 months. We use 9 months to do the appointment. What stops him from, say, using each week to deal with, say, 10 district assemblies?
It's not
in his attempt to appoint those people to the assemblies. Why would he then constitute a committee? That committee does its work. People have legitimate expectation because they perform well, and lift him out, and then you would think that you will not have these agitations. These agitations were brought upon by the president's own method of choosing the assembly, the MMDC.
Okay.
All right, Honorable
Yes, I need to respond.
Yes.
I think that my good friend has not really appreciated the issues. For instance, President Mahama did not appoint any committee as far as we are aware. But there were agitations after he made the announcement. It wasn't based on any list. A whole regional chairman of Greater Accra, Adekuka, said that it was the narrow interest, ethnic base, etc., and that he should look at the list again, and that they have even submitted a position to him that he has to
That was
consider.
in 2013.
2013. And was that based on the list? Secondly, he's talking about inability. President Mahama appointed his, or nominated the MMDCs in July. He was in office in January. Was that inability? When he had taken over from Professor Mills in 2012, just about 6 months to the elections. So he should appreciate these things very well before he comes out this way. Otherwise, he contradicts himself. Obviously, he's against election of MMDCs. We can come to that.
Yeah.
I would state my position strongly.
So
we need to elect MMDCs.
Okay, so he talks about the election of MMDCs on a partisan basis being a danger at the local level because
as we speak,
ordinary people may not feel...
As we speak, literally every DC has his political roots. There are some,
they have a constituency or a following.
There are some who are party officers who have been nominated to become chief executives. Are they not partisan? But this situation is only one party. I mean, if you take even my constituency, the most interesting thing about it is that the presiding member in the assembly in my constituency is the constituency chairman. He won his electoral area elections, came to the assembly, and he was elected presiding member. He's still the chairman of MPP in the constituency.
So your view is that a lot of the assembly is constituted by a lot of elected officials at the political party level.
Yes.
So really,
what are we hiding?
So whether we elect on a partisan basis, it doesn't deviate from what we have now.
His argument is that the old lady cannot walk to the office of the chief executive because we have been nominated by a party.
And she may not be a member of that party.
I'm saying that
isn't that a real danger?
No, even my chief executive has been renominated. He was the second vice chairman of the party. And he served 4 years. And
so he's a known party individual. He's a known party individual.
Doesn't mean that people don't go to the assembly, or those who go to the assembly are only MPP members. We have to be realistic. All across the world, people vote on partisan lines to elect their chief executives. Now, the irony is that even the unit committee members are elected. Assembly members are elected, but chief executives are not elected. Now, you are saying that if we try to do that on partisan basis, the local governance system will break down. And I'm saying that at the assembly level, everybody knows which party any person belongs to. Has it broken out the local governance system?
All right, just a quick response from Honorable, from Abraham Maliba. So, Abraham, is it that the NDC is worried that this is like the last thing in the whole local governance setup that was put in place by the NDC, and you don't want to lose that? Maybe that's why members of the NDC are opposed to having elections at a partisan status at that local level.
We think that the current arrangement has served us well, where at the local level we are all united, and that people don't see themselves when they go to the assembly as an NDC woman has come. DC, the woman sitting at the reception is an NDC woman. You don't hear those things.
But you may not hear it, but the individuals leading these assemblies are known party individuals.
To go to the district assemblies because, yes, the person there is voted for on partisan basis. I am saying that we all know each other's party affiliations. I'm sure there's somebody who knows Jim Mensah's party affiliation. But because it is not done in the open, that's the difference. Because it is not done in the open, and because the person who is occupying the seat was not there based on open partisan election, he feels a certain sense of responsibility towards all and sundry. And so he does not see his being in that office being tied to his party affiliation. And so his sense of responsibility is to the entire people in the community, and for that matter, the district. That is where the argument is coming from.
But Honorable, but Mr. Maliba, we have members of parliament. You may be in an area where it is, you know, an NPP member of parliament. If I have an issue, nothing stops me from calling the individual. Yeah. The individual is my member of parliament. He's responsible to me as per holding that role. So it then questions the argument you're putting forward.
Certainly. You've made my case.
That is not true. That is not entirely true. That members of parliament, the constituents who are openly identified with one political party, easily are comfortable walking to the member of parliament who doesn't belong to their political party. You've not found out how people feel uncomfortable doing that. So in any case, the district assembly, the assembly members will tell you, when you ask them, are you an NDC assembly member or an MPP assembly member? You know their response. They always say that I am here for all and sundry. That is the spirit. That is what we are talking about. At the lower level, you do not politicize it. And you realize that it wasn't the NDC alone that was against it. Chiefs, National House of Chiefs, who are in the community with the people, bought into the same argument and said, no, this has served us well. Why are we interested in politicizing every structure of our government? And for that matter, there shouldn't be elections based on a partisan basis at the district level. Was it only the NDC? So I think that if we think that we want to do some elections at the district level, we can still do it, but not on partisan basis. We can still have people independently coming out to give themselves up for elections, and people can vote for them. But to make it partisan is where I have a problem.
All right. Thank you very much, Abraham Amaleba, Director of Legal Affairs for the NDC. Yes, quick one, Honorable. Then we take a break and then we come
Very well.
back.
He's made his points, except that I don't agree with him. Even if you say at the lower level we should not politicize the system, I'm a member of parliament. I belong to the lower level. I have to deal with them every day. Once I'm able to get there, I have to deal with them. I'm at the lower level.
So people come to you. It doesn't matter whether they are MPP.
You'll be surprised how I even engage the NDC persons. Some of them will be office holders. And then those down. And in any case, if I lobby for a road to be made, is it made for only MPP people? If I lobby for a school to be built or a clinic, whatever, it's for the general community. Do I say that those holding MPP cards are the ones who should patronize or who should have access to the facility? It's for everybody. So if you think that because I have been elected on a ticket of MPP, everything I do will serve
for MPP people.
Yeah, I mean, it's a misconception. You are not appreciating the issue very well. It's the same way that if a DC who has been elected knows that in the next 4 years he will go for elections again, he will not say that I'm only looking at MPP people. Because it's not only MPP people who vote for him come the elections. And how are you going to run your district if you think that you can go in this way? It's rather when you are appointed that you think that you owe your appointment, your everything, to the appointing authority. And in which case, they may complain, they may write petitions. If the president,
and you are not obliged to really do anything about it.
If the president says that this is the person I want, what happens to the electorate? But here is a situation where he has to account to the electorate because they will vote for him. And there's no way any person is going to say that I will only concentrate on this side because they are the only ones who are going to vote. Everybody will vote. And you want the highest votes as much as possible. We will not say that once I get 49%, I'm okay. So he has to appreciate these things. I mean, at the end of the day...
But strongly, will the president push further? Because I think now the argument has been resurrected and... Many are thinking maybe we have to fix this soon.
Yes, as far as we at the ministry are concerned, we went very far based on the instructions of the president to get MMDCs elected. To the extent that the EC submitted CI to Parliament for a referendum on this matter, and it was passed. And so at the last moment when our friends had their major press conference and more or less telling their followers that go and vote against it. Then the president said we should build consensus.
Okay. So are you trying to do that again? Will you try and do that?
We have put it on the table again.
Put it on the table again.
Indeed, we are asking the major stakeholders to bring their position paper. As far as we are concerned, we've done enough consultation and everything. The records show we consulted Christian Council, Muslim Association, the parties, etc. So now they should bring their formal positions. He referred to the chiefs. The chiefs were rather worried that if we scrap the appointment system, we scrap the government appointees in the assembly, that means that they may not have a say or a nominee in the assembly. Because based on a 30% representation, they are chiefs.
Get a role.
Yes. That is what was their
So that's something to look at going forward.
Because their position was, are you scrapping that 30% appointee system? If you are scrapping it, how do we get involved in the system? It's something that we really need to look at. So there's still work to do, but I think that eventually he ended up by saying that we should do the elections, but it should not be partisan.
It should be independent. All right, so the jury is still out on that. We take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk a bit about SAL.
the occasion. With ATL, you can never be out of style. ATL, bringing fabric to life.
As young girls, we had dreams. Dreams to be a star, dreams to stand tall amongst our peers, and dreams to be Ghana's most beautiful. Here we are as young girls, evolved into ladies and serving as role models to many.
It has been a long journey, from the audition stages through to the live performances and eviction shows.
We must say, it's been such an experience. From the low moments and the high moments, we have enjoyed every bit of this learning curve.
From 16 down to 6 of us, the time for one of us to wear that prestigious crown is here, and we are super excited.
It is the grand finale of Ghana's Most Beautiful 2021, the most anticipated finale, and I can say that the ladies and I are super ready.
Yes, they are 6 beautiful, confident and smart ladies poised and ready for this year's Ghana's Most Beautiful finale. Come see your ladies battle it out for the crown, the car and a life of luxury and fame. Join us at the National Theatre of Ghana on the 3rd of October 2021 at 8 p.m. sharp. Tickets are going for 50 Ghana cedis. It's an all-ladies affair as we have 4 of Ghana's songbirds, Abiana, Sinoso, Sefa and Adina. Don't miss this spectacular night with amazing music and dazzling performances from our final 6 ladies. Push your favorite to be crowned by dialing *713*13# or download the TV3 Reality app on Google Play Store or Apple Store now and vote. Ghana's Most Beautiful.
Rediscovering true beauty.
And is sponsored by Lavon's Tomato Mix, Camel now from Kerex, Freedom from Casapreco, GTP, Darling Lemon Drink, Airtel Tigo's Big Time Bundles, Lufat, Deluxe Acrylic Paint, Heaven Black Mosquito Spray and Coil, and Napa Mackerel,
Geisha, Close Up,
Ayo Insurance, Fan Milk Nutri-Day Yogurt, and supported by
You're welcome back, and some of you have sent your messages. Let's take a look at them. This one says the general silence in Ghana upon the announcement of the MMDCs is an indication that His Excellency the President is a man of wisdom, and that's from Suleimana Damba from Tamale. This one from Johnny at Sunyai says, I disagree with Honorable Amwa that the MMDCs should continue to be in office because they were not appointed in January like the president. So is he telling us that if the government is out of power, the MMDCs will continue to be in office until a new government is put in place? Well, Johnny, that happened in the case of the NDC when Professor Mills came to office. So it's not exactly unusual that they would continue in their role until things change. This one from Ismaila Ali says, please ask the honorable member then why tell the MMDCs to act if their tenure has not ended? I think that issue hasn't been cleared up. Can you quickly clear that up?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, the Chief of Staff, one was reminding them that you are still in office. 2, the President has had his 2nd term. He's still arranging his executive. So once you're there, you don't even have a minister. So don't take policy decisions. And I think that is fair.
Were they able to take financial decisions, for instance, spending? Because that was also a criticism that their releases had not come.
She quoted 14.5. And 14.5 is talking about policy. It says, before the assumption of office of the incoming minister, a person so appointed by the president shall be in charge of the relevant ministry, but shall not take a decision involving a policy issue except the Minister of Justice, where the Solicitor General shall be in charge of the ministry. That's what she quoted. More or less saying that even your minister who is acting now, not knowing whether he will be the one to be nominated, has been asked not to take policy decisions. So you at the district level, you can run the place because your time is not up, but you don't have to take policy decisions as required under the Presidential Transition Act. That's how I see it. You will be surprised in May. In May, the news came out that all of them have been asked to go home. It took the regional minister, Greta Accra, to make a public statement that indeed nobody has been asked to go home. They have to stay on based on the president's directives. So people should just look at these things very critically. Sometimes people hear others saying it,
and then
they repeat.
Latch onto it.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
This one from Kwame says the non-partisan nature of the district assemblies has some good in it. During the last district assembly elections in my constituency, Dom Kwabenya, our electoral area, a typical NPP-dominated area, the electorate voted overwhelmingly for an individual who is a known NDC constituency executive. If it were strictly partisan, a strictly partisan affair, he would never have won.
But if the area is dominated by MPP and the NDC person wins, it's not strange, except that he has to work with the MPP people. You understand?
Yes, but if we have a partisan situation, that opportunity may not be there.
That he cannot work with the other people.
That he may not even be elected. Because,
of course, he's a majority. He's a majority who will carry
and I think that's the concern, because if it happens like this in a place like Dom Kwabe, and I live in that constituency, it's very MPP. Yeah. But if the presiding member is an non-NDC person, it allows for the collaborations that typically we would not see.
I also live in Domi Kwabenya, Parako Estates. If you're talking about electoral area basis, there may be an electoral area which is NDC dominated, but the whole constituency may be MPP biased. But some electoral areas may be NDC dominated, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you think that that is a virtue, if you think that that is something that is positive about it, fine, why not? We can discuss it. That's why I'm saying that some people think that for the unit committees and the assembly members, we can still let it look non-partisan, because as far as I'm concerned,
they are partisan.
It's partisan.
Okay, you were telling me that maybe an approach we could adopt just to start on a certain path would be election of the mayors for the big cities.
Yes. So that people will know that, I mean, it's nothing strange and mysterious, in the sense that if, let's say, AME is headed by a person whose government is not in power, he can still run the place. And people should cooperate with him if they think that he's doing a good job. And for politics, I see it as power sharing, not winner takes all that we are all complaining about. President sits in his office, he announces 260. I mean, whether you like it or not, almost 100% belong to his party. Now he opens his up, others come in. It's power sharing. Whether you are in power or out of power, you are also helping running government, and people will even see whether you're capable of delivering. Because stock is cheap. If at the end of the day you are running who, and you run it very well, everybody knows that, yes, and even out of power, see how the person is running the place. And you will not come giving excuses that it's government which is sabotaging you, that's why you are not delivering. Your skills will show. And if it comes to common fund, you have to, everybody qualifies. You don't say that because it's the enclave of the opposition, I'm not sending common fund there. As we speak now, if you go to places where MPP doesn't dominate, the districts are headed by MPP persons. And some of them, they've run them very well. The world has not come to an end. So we should appreciate some of these things. And as you rightly said, if we think going wholesale will make people apprehensive, you might as well start on a smaller scale. The mayors, big cities, big towns. That's what I agree. Such places, let's do the elections.
And then see how it goes.
Except that our friends will complain. Almost all the big cities will be dominated by
MPP people. So before we wrap up, sir, we need to talk about SAL, that's Central Kofi Akpakpo Lipe Lolobi.
Yes.
Now, it's emerged that they have an assembly, but it's not been fully commissioned,
yes.
and then there remains the issue of them not having representation in Parliament. Please clear up for us.
Yes, you have become a chief advocate for local governance. I'm really impressed today. Some of your sound bites, I wish I could even recollect them and then use them very well. Probably I'll ask for the tape and then pick some of your sound bites.
Thank you,
but
sir.
I would advise that as much as possible, we should not refer to SAR again. It's now Guan District.
It's now Guan District.
It's Guan District. So
but the constituency, the parliamentary constituency, doesn't sit there, does it?
No,
it's complicated.
Yes, a bit complicated. I agree with you. With the creation of a new region, the electoral areas fell under OT. And then, so they were also under Jasikan. We had a Jasikan district, where those who are now Guan district, 13 electoral areas, they were part of Jasikan. So Jasikan was 33 electoral areas. 13 were taken out to form the Guan district. You understand? So we went through the motions, parliamentary motions, LI, EI by the president in September, LI was sent to Parliament in October. By 9th November, the LI had matured, so we now had Guan district. Now, during President Akufo-Addo's first term, he's created a lot of districts, but he has been very careful not to create a district which would push the AC to create a constituency. None, except the Guan district. The moment he created a Guan district, means he has separated Jasikan. He has taken some electoral areas from Jasikan to form the Guan district. And because they also needed an MP to represent them, it meant that the EC would create a constituency for them. Unfortunately, by the time the creation of a district matured in November, that was the day Parliament was rising to go and campaign. So EC could not create a constituency before the elections. In their own wisdom, then they said, then you should vote for presidential, but don't vote for parliamentary. It has its implications, but that's the EC side of it. I remember very well, after elections, the EC attempted to bring CI to Parliament to create Guan constituency. Some of us drew the attention to the fact that when you bring an instrument to Parliament, it takes 21 sitting days. The number of days that we have before 7 January, you will not have the 21 sitting days, and whatever you do by 7 January, what you've submitted will be null and void.
So it has to be resubmitted in the new Parliament.
In the new Parliament.
And is that on course?
So let me tackle the aspect of Guan district really fully in place.
Okay.
We have the Guan district, we have the electoral
I understand the assembly members, yes.
But there should be government appointees. The president should also put in a 30% as required. And then nominate a chief executive who would then be endorsed by the assembly. And once the list has come, we expect this one to also happen. But the minister, if you heard him, he is more interested in the structures. Send people there, local government service, post people there. Where would the office be? Where would the departments be? As we wait for the president to make the announcement. Because it's the same people who say that, you have announced chief executive, he doesn't have a place to sit. You have announced chief executive, he doesn't have a place to sit. You have announced an assembly, you have inaugurated an assembly, there are no staff members.
So for you at local government, it's more about having the structures in place before the formal ceremony of announcement and inauguration and everything.
Yes, otherwise, I mean...
But we have to now resubmit the instrument for the constituency to the House later.
It's for the EC
to decide when.
It's for EC to submit it. But if you look at decided cases, if you create a constituency within a term, it takes effect from the next term.
So it makes no sense to submit it now.
Well, whatever time EC will submit it, it will go to the 21 sitting days if tutors don't reject it. But you then say that you created a Guan constituency, assuming they want to name it Guan. But the Guan constituency can only take effect from 2025. And that's what the Supreme Court has said. And
so
it makes sense.
Based on the decided precedents.
Yes, the cases. It makes sense. Otherwise, a government comes into power, finds a way to create more constituencies if it thinks that it's
they
not...
need to shore up their base. Okay, so this just really to avoid a perception of gerrymandering as well.
Otherwise, if the court decides today that AC can create one constituency and it should take effect, the government may end up creating more districts, which will push EC to create more constituencies. And it will be gerrymandering.
All right.
That's why the Supreme Court in its wisdom has said that if we interpret the Constitution, because it happened in 2012, 45 constituencies were created in March.
And there were accusations that...
they were created in March.
Yeah.
So, for instance, I was MP for a Brin Sawam constituency.
And that was divided.
It was divided. So, in Sawam, more or less, didn't have an MP. Because I chose to be a Bri. In some more or less, until we went for the elections in 2012, December. From March to December, you couldn't say that I represented the 2 districts. But that is what we lived with. So unfortunately that for the one district, it may have to go longer. By the end of the day, EC can decide when to create that constituency, but it will take effect in 2025.
Right.
But for the district, the minister has assured the whole country that the next few weeks, he wants everything to be in place. He sent a team, they brought him a report where we should spend. We've had meetings with the Office of Local Government Service, and they are posting persons there. And when he says that assembly has been inaugurated, we will have their departments, they have their chief executive, they have the assembly members all playing their part.
All right. Thank you very much, Honorable Obiamo. It's really been an instructive discussion with you.
Thank you so much.
Many thanks for spending some time with us this morning. And also thanks to Dr. Richard Fiadomo, who is the president of the Chamber of Local Governance, as well as the Honorable Bismarck Inkum of Gomoa West, and Abraham Amaliba, who is the Director of Legal Affairs for the NDC. We take a break and we'll be right back with the Takoradi woman's story.
Introducing Nestle Milo All-in-One Nutrimix. The goodness of malt, milk and cocoa in Milo, and even more milk. Just add to water and enjoy the perfect cup of winning energy.
Milo! This advertisement has been vetted and approved by...
From 16 beautiful and intelligent women, 6 have made it to the ultimate grand finale of GMB 2021. Who will be crowned Ghana's most beautiful queen 2021? Sunday, 3rd October. Is it Safwa, Manu, Akosia, Mfojo, Settle, Wedaga? Vote for your favorite via short code *713*13#. GMB, rediscovering true beauty.
And is sponsored by Lavon's Tomato Mix, Camel now from Kerex, Freedom from Casaprecon, GTP, Darling Lemon Drink, Airtel Tigo's Big Time Bundles,
Lufat,
Deluxy Acrylic Paint, Heaven Black Mosquito Spray and Coil, and Napa Mackerel,
Geisha, Close Up,
Ayo Insurance, Fun Milk Nutri Day Yogurt, and supported by
Connect FM was Watson Trade Fair in Chamakain. Orubadubio. Now famous na. Jida was a greater. No was a boy in every ground so hot. Connect FM Watson Trade Fair. Oshasu Kuda 29 September. Na yevienu kusida 3rd October. What's up Krademo na yemuwa. Company Sakasin and Jumokuka Kramba and a one of offering in our baby. I was at on Mamana Katake Pa. Boloncho na send for Tanase. Francis Ramaya register way 0244 244 027 and a 0545 572 856. Connect FM Watson Trade Fair. Kade on your 29 September, 3rd October. What a Krademo na yim. And I'm for your Krademo. Connect FM Watson Trade Fair. It's a the project.
Let's Go Farming. Show Saturdays at 4 p.m. on TV3.
Skipping breakfast is not ideal because you may end up missing some essential nutrients and also end up snacking all throughout the day. So hop on the Fat to Fit train and lose weight the right way. Lego! I am so looking forward to speaking to Mommy Ekra Gazy. Help me welcome her on the show. Hey. Now, have you ever said to yourself that you don't have enough time in the day because you've got too many things to do?
Looking at blocking your time helps you to move away from the traditional to-do list, which can be frustrating. It can be underproductive.
I lost my job. So I was just contemplating what to do for a living before I get another job.
The corporate entity is not a thing that is hanging. It is made up of human beings. So when the human beings individually are struggling, that corporate entity struggles.
Today's Woman shows Sundays at 3 p.m. and repeat Wednesdays at 3 p.m. on TV3.
Thank you very much for joining us on The Key Points. Continue to send your messages to us on 055-369-8789. Now, this week, the nation has been transfixed by the curious case of the Takoradi woman, Josephine Penny-Mensah, who, in the words of the police, disappeared and reappeared and was not kidnapped as earlier claimed by her husband and family. The last 24 hours have been especially dramatic as police announced via social media that she had recanted her claims about being pregnant and being kidnapped. We are told she has also appealed to the police not to prosecute her. We are learning that the lady is receiving more medical help, but for now she's in custody of the police at the Central Police Station in Takoradi in the Western region. Whew, what an end to what has been a packed week, you know, on this issue. So we are learning that 3 people were also charged for conspiracy. They've not been identified by the police. But is that all? Or do you, maybe like me, remain a bit unconvinced? Some are asking if she even had legal representation as she recanted, or did she just succumb to the pressure? Do we continue to wait and see? And so we moved on to the issue of the Takoradi kidnapped woman and matters arising. Our guest this morning to put some of the issues in perspective, the Honorable Nana Oye Bampoado, former gender minister, human rights and gender activist, also Adib Sani, a security analyst. And I must put on record that we have made efforts to reach the Ghana Police, particularly the Director General of the Ghana Police Service, ACP Kwesi Furi, but he's been unresponsive. Our efforts to get a representation and comment from the Western Region Police Commander and PRO has also been declined. So that's how come we're going without a police representation this morning. Thank you both for making some time for us this morning on Key Points. Thank you.
Thanks. Good morning.
Honorable Bampoado, thank you for coming in. Mr. Sani, thanks for coming in.
My pleasure.
So, let me start with you, Adib. How do you describe this entire saga in the last 24 hours?
Well, first of all, a very good morning to yourself, your production team, and your viewers alike. In your introduction, you said it's the end. It's not the end.
It's not the end.
It's not even the beginning of the end, but perhaps the end of the beginning.
The end of the beginning, yeah.
I'm sure as the days go by, a lot of revelations is going to come. But I've been very categorical from the beginning that we need to assess the victim's mental capacity, in as much as we're concerned about, ensuring that the investigation is done in a timely manner. Because in criminology, when investigating a crime, we say your biggest enemy is time. We should also be concerned about her mental status, because if we push her to give information, she might, one, be incoherent. Secondly, she might even mislead the police. There are so many questions that still remains unanswered. But one thing is for sure. The aftermath of the said kidnapping hasn't been well managed by the police. I mean, we have a protocol to follow in dealing with crisis, and I think the police would need a lot more training in crisis management because we saw the same mistakes made with the Takoradi missing girls, and most shockingly, those same mistakes are repeated with this one, because I would have expected that first and foremost you get a liaison between the police and the family, because sometimes the families have the tendency to undermine investigation just because they are human, just because they are in a state of denial. That is why it's important that you keep them informed every step of the way, but at the same time try to manage information so it doesn't compromise the investigation in the first place. We also say that the crime is one thing, management of the aftermath is another, and if it is not well managed, there's always a tendency of the aftermath even becoming more injurious than the crime itself, and that's exactly what we saw.
Okay, so let me put you on hold there before we go into those further details. Honorable Bampoado, how do you describe the last 24 hours?
It's very disturbing. It's very disturbing that lessons have not been learned. It's disappointing that the police have not acted professionally, that the regional minister who is in charge, or the chair of the Regional Security Council of the Western Region, has also not acted professionally. And when I talk about lessons learned, we saw what happened with the Takoradi 3. So my assessment of the police statements has been that it seems like they are reacting, they are being reactive, they are responding to the public pressure and the public sentiments and the public concerns, instead of staying focused and being professional about how they would deal with this issue. You can see a disconnect between the regional coordinating, the security coordinating council, the security network headed by the regional minister, and the police service. They are contradicting each other. There's this issue about ransom paid. The regional minister's aide is saying that 3,000 cedis was handed over to the police for ransom. The police are denying it. The regional minister, within 24 hours or so of the paying Mensa being reappearing, issues a public statement. We don't know whether it was with the support or cooperation of the police service. Then the police service also issues a statement, I think on the 23rd or so, and one of the focus of the statement is how they had 40 officers and then they are congratulating the 40 officers who have worked night and day and all that. So you can see they still have the bruises of the Takoradi, the 3 kidnapped, the Takoradi girls, yes, the Takoradi girls. They still have the bruises, and they are trying to show that, look, we are working on this. But when you even read the statement, they say that they informed the family of Peyin Mensah, but they did not. The Peyin was found disoriented by a carpenter on the grounds of the Jehovah Witness at Tulani in Axim. And I've listened to the account of Kwesi Nana, the carpenter, the gentleman.
Yes,
and he's saying that she used sign language and wrote the number of a pastor on a piece of paper. And then he called the pastor and then also called the family. So, and then he was the one who even called the police and got the police to come over. So there are some contradictions. For me, the most important and most critical is the lady, Peyin Mensah. Has she been given legal assistance? Was she informed of her right to remain silent? Under what circumstances was her confession procured? Who were the professionals there? Has she received psychiatric help? Has she seen a clinical psychologist? What is the composition of the team dealing with this case? Because there are medical issues, there are psychological issues, there are issues relating to her mental state, and then also there are criminal issues. And then even this whole, why is the police focusing on whether she's pregnant or not? Where is the criminal element? If the husband reported the case a day after, I think she got missing on Thursday.
Last week on a Thursday and on a Friday.
And then on a Friday, the husband reported. It was the husband who told the police that she was pregnant. And so if the husband told the police she was pregnant, and you have found out, we are not sure, you found out that she's not pregnant, where is the criminal element? We as Ghanaians are concerned about the kidnapping. When you read
whether she was kidnapped,
or not, and your investigations on that, why is the police focusing on whether she was pregnant or not, and the fact that she has faked the pregnancy? In terms of security, in terms of law and order, I would have thought that the focus would have been on the kidnapping. The pregnancy is an element, is a component of the investigation. But we are now scared of getting kidnapped because there's so many reports. You just Google kidnapping in Ghana, and it's all over Ghana.
And it looks like the Western region is certain target.
Yes.
Ajib will give us more.
You see, so
that.
For me, we want to know. And I'm disappointed that ACP Kwesi Fori has not responded to calls by TV3 to provide information or even to get a representative for this program, because this is a topical issue presently in Ghana. There's a lot of discussion on it, and we are worried about our safety and security. For the first time in my life, I will not go out alone. I will not drive alone after 10 p.m. because I'm not too sure about the security situation and whether I'm safe or not. This is the very first time in my life. I could drive around 3 a.m., 2 a.m., 12 midnight. But now I'm being more careful because of the reports that I'm reading about kidnapping.
Okay, let me come to Adib. I mean, there's been the criticism that the police are focusing so much on the pregnancy. Maybe you can give us a view. Maybe some of us may have missed it. Has there been an established timeline of the kidnapping, who is involved, where it happened, whether it didn't happen, that kind of thing? Because we all seem to have been sidetracked by this whole pregnancy business, whether she was pregnant or not.
Okay. So, like I indicated earlier, the manner in which the whole affair is managed is what is adding to the seeming lack of trust and confidence in the police and exactly what they are doing. Like I also indicated, currently there are a lot of questions that really, as a matter of fact, remains unanswered. Before the police came out with a statement with respect to the kidnapping, the initial statement that came, the regional minister
23rd.
went on radio, yes.
Yes, so the
23rd.
regional minister went out prior to the issuance of that statement. Yes.
And he categorically stated that the lady was not pregnant. So he set in motion that pregnancy agenda, okay? And I thought that it was somewhat irresponsible on the part of the regional minister to not exercise some level of due diligence.
But is that fair? Because his narrative hasn't changed from the police's narrative in the last couple of days. Nothing seems to have changed.
But you see, when you're dealing with a crisis situation, information is very important. The way you couch it, you know, the timing of the information, okay? And I'll tell you why it was a big mistake on the part of the minister to come out with that information, okay? I personally went on social media to just, you know, gather views and opinions about what is going on. It would interest you to know that a vast majority of persons
responding on the issue
are indicating that the police statement is a grand scheme to protect the minister. You get me? Because they wouldn't want the minister to be dragged into disrepute, and that some were even opining that there were some hands involved and the police is just trying to protect them. I know full well that the regional minister, like Nana Oyi rightly mentioned, is the chairman of the Regional Security Council, and so by virtue of him being the chair, would be privy to some information, okay? But it wasn't in his place to come out with that information, because it is the police that has to sit around a table and decide what information to bring out and what information not to. You see, investigation is not a football match, so you don't expect live commentary every step of the way. And it is always couched to, in the first place, update the public, and secondly, protect the sanctity, protect the integrity of the investigation. So the fact that the minister has come out to say those things, trust me, is what has created widespread controversy and bickering among the section of the population. If he had zipped, I'm pretty sure that a statement from the police would have been enough to end all of these controversies. So there are still lots of questions that really has to be answered, including the timelines, whether some other persons were involved, because currently what we know is, and the police has been quite emphatic about it, that the pregnancy is fake and the kidnapping is fake.
Yes, they said they've arrested 3 people for conspiracy. They didn't tell us who these people
were. I understand the mother,
but that's even later.
And the husband.
No, that's even later. That's even later. They put it in their statement. But first, let's hear some of the residents from Takoradi who were quite unhappy with the regional minister and his comments and their views on how this has all gone down. And you think because it's interesting, because the regional minister made the statement, they can't make him come and apologize for it. So their statement has to now reflect that.
It's not.
Okay.
You know the police, they fear politicians.
Also should not have gone on radio to say this.
Well, a day before we were kidnapped, I saw the girl.
I saw her a day before she went missing, and she was still pregnant. She even showed me her stomach when I asked if she hadn't put to birth yet.
Nobody can convince me that she was not pregnant. She was. The minister should have hastened slowly.
I know the woman, and she has been pregnant for months. I even have photos of her.
We've also been speaking with this particular wachi seller who says that she has been very close to Josephine for the past 3 weeks.
She used to struggle during the pregnancy. She could barely walk. She could not even cook. But we leave it to God if authority says she was not.
Tata is 70 years old. She lives very close to Josephine's house, and she tells us that this is how Josephine walks anytime she sees her. So this is what we know so far. Sources at the Axim Government Hospital are telling us that the doctor who performed observation on Josephine Payne-Mensah is Jerry Abobra. That for the past 6 days, there's no sign that Josephine had given birth. Again, Josephine was not lactating. So per that conclusion, they can say that Josephine was not pregnant.
Our colleague from the Western region there bringing us that update and the views of some of the residents of Takoradi. But Nana Oye, pregnancy is a medical condition. We cannot see someone and just automatically assume that the person is pregnant. The person may have other medical conditions like fibroid, which may lead to an extended stomach and the like. So maybe the residents are also jumping the gun. Only a qualified medical clinician can determine that.
That is true. We leave that to the health sector and the medical profession to ascertain and determine whether or not Payne-Mensah was pregnant. That is their expertise. But looking at the context and looking at the broader issue of safety, of security, especially maintaining law and order, I believe that this information ought to have been managed in a more professional way by first the regional minister and the Regional Security Council of the Western Region and the Ghana Police Service. In managing this whole, there should have been a team made up of clinical psychologists, medical doctors, social welfare, and the Ghana Police. Immediately she reappeared and all these, like the security reports came about fake pregnancy and all that. A team should have been assembled to assess the situation, to assess her, and then take a decision on what sort of information to put out there. Okay, because what has happened is inflamed the community. The community are not happy, and they hold cases and all that, and that is so unnecessary. If the Ghana Police and Regional Security Council, led by the regional minister, had managed this, and why I'm concerned and worried is that we had a similar situation when the 3 girls were kidnapped. And why people do not trust the police is that we had the topmost officer, the CID Director General, coming up with a statement that the girls had been found. And what do we have? Several months down the line, we see the remains, we see bones and skeletons. And so that is why people do not trust what the police is saying. And I suppose that is why the police is trying to also react and come up with all these statements to show that this time around they are doing their job, and unfortunately they are messing it up because of that. But
the view is that the pregnancy or not is an integral part of the police's investigation, and it may not be wrong for them to hamper on that because there are security issues involved. If truly she was pregnant and had been found afterwards and she's not, there's a concern about where is the newborn. You know, there's a concern about the security situation, about whether this was for quote unquote ritual purposes, and that is what for some is why the pregnancy issue is critical. Because if there has been any attempt to take the pregnancy from her or deprive her of her newborn, that's a major security challenge.
Same location, Western Region. We saw what happened with the Takoradi, the 3 girls. Same circumstances, disappearance. And so within that context, the police should be sensitive to how they go about not just investigating, but managing the information that they give to the public, and even the approach and the sort of information. so that people are very clear in their minds. And I would even have, with respect to the pregnancy, maybe even the medical doctors should have been the one communicating. Like, bring a whole team and get the medical doctors to do that. Then it sort of allays the fears and reduces the suspicions of the general public because of the past experiences and circumstances with respect to Western region, with respect to police in Western region, and with respect to the issue of kidnapping and females. Because it's the same scenario playing out. So they should have really been strategic and thought through how to manage this. And it's all to allay fears and all the shouting and the disturbances in the community is what I am worried about. And the police could have managed this better and have been more professional, so that they sort of reduce all this. And like he said, yes, that, you know, involve the family. So get a representative of the family, engage with the family, because these are the same complaints that the families of the Takoradi girls said about the insufficient information and the failure to communicate with them. And they're reading all this on air. And this also fueled that distrust between the families of the Takoradi girls and also that. So things have to be done. The police have to manage this in a much, much more professional way.
Adib, yes, come in, Adib, because for many, the pregnant, and I put this to you as well, the pregnancy issue for many is fundamental. It is the basis on which, if a newborn has been taken from the mother or the circumstances surrounding the loss of that newborn is not known, the police feel that that is the immediate issue to be tackled. They don't want women losing their children in Takoradi or in the Western region. And so the issue of the kidnapping then comes obviously later.
Well, Jifa, I would agree with you to some extent. It's an incontrovertible fact that the pregnancy should be part of the whole investigation. But quote me anyway, now the investigation has gone beyond finding out the truth to rather vindicating the police, shaming the woman, shaming the community.
But if she said she faked the pregnancy, faked the death, is that fake that kidnapping, is that shaming her? She recanted.
When you, I mean, you are a communicator. Even when you go through the lines, the communication lines put out there by the police, it is so obvious that it is an attempt to vindicate the police. Because in recent times, people have had a reason to be worried about what is going on in the country with respect to the insecurity situation. A lot of people have lost trust and confidence in the police. And I mean, I've been very categorical, right from when Dampari was appointed as acting IGP. I said that he has a lot of work to do so far as engendering the trust and respect for the police within the public is concerned. Because as we stand now, I mean, there are instances when people are victims of crime. They don't even report to the police. You ask them, they ask you to what end. Some of them tell you that when they go to the police, if they don't have a vehicle, it becomes a challenge because you have to get a taxi to transport the police to the crime scene. And some also contend that there are instances when they have to pay money, you know. So we really need to build that trust, because if there was that trust, a statement from the police should have been enough to put all of these to rest. Unfortunately,
yes. And then you see the police are not even, I mean, they are being callous.
Oh,
with respect to the victim, whatever it is, whatever, she's a suspect, fine. Should she have been put in cells in her condition? Should she, I mean, even
she was in hospital. She was at the Ifya Kwanzaa hospital. But it's only now that she's been arrested for faking the kidnapping and the pregnancy, where she even confessed that it looks like she had been pregnant but lost the baby, but then she didn't know how to now.
Has there been an assessment?
Mental assessment?
Yes, has there been a mental health? Has there been an assessment of her state of mind? is she in the correct state of mind? Because, okay, if it is not true that she's faked, one issue. If even it is true that she's faked the pregnancy, would somebody under normal circumstances fake a pregnancy, and then the ransom asked, they say it was 500 Ghana, then it was increased to 1,000, and then the regional minister says he gave 3,000. I mean, looking at all this, for 3,000, 1,000 or 500, there are obviously some issues and problems. And I would feel more comfortable if the police had come up with a medical assessment and
they came up with the medical
assessment. Well, they came up and said Axim Takoradi and Efie Kwanta all say that she's not pregnant.
Yes.
As to what, and then one of the medical facilities even said that they even denied it.
Because
I can't remember which one.
Yes, one of them.
Because there are issues of privacy. I mean, how can you just come public with somebody's medical records as to whether she's pregnant or not, and as to whether she even had, support or her lawyer? I mean, because the police have even insisted on they could even have gone to Ghana Legal Aid Board.
Couldn't Legal Aid have also rendered their services?
Well, if they haven't been approached, you see, but Legal Aid Board could have even provided this woman with legal, because of the circumstance. Because sometimes you go to court and there's a murder case or so, the judge would actually appoint a lawyer. And under these circumstances, with the hindsight of what happened a few years ago, I'd have thought that the police would insist and ensure that she has legal representation, so that as they go through the investigation and the other processes with her, they are assured that she's being represented and she's being given legal advice. So for me, these are all the very worrying circumstances in respect of the professional approach that the police ought to have taken in this particular case.
They can go to 100 medical facilities. If you don't follow the right protocol, it amounts to nothing. It's completely useless. Okay? And Nanoyi is asking very legitimate questions. Okay? Were there third parties? Who are the third parties? Is it just the police? I mean, I would have expected that the police have a member of her family present, apart from the legal representation, and perhaps another party.
They said they had provided a team. You know, the police also has psychologists and the like. They said they had also provided some service like that.
But the trust is a major issue. And in the midst of all of these, the police should have, taking that into consideration and made sure that all of these, persons are available or present.
Yes. Okay. And if even in their statement, instead of focusing on the 40 officers working day and night and congratulating them, when they didn't even find the woman, it was a carpenter who found the woman. They could have even made those, added that to their statement. We have sought legal assistance for her. She has a lawyer who is helping. She has been referred, social welfare. We have a team, social welfare. We have referred a clinical psychologist who is, that would have enriched the statement, and Ghanaians would have been comforted that she is also her interest is being catered for, whatever the circumstances. This statement the police came out with yesterday wasn't necessary.
She has recanted.
Was that necessary?
But if she has, it's information.
It's to vindicate the police.
They are trying to defend themselves.
Okay.
It's about their image.
Okay.
Let's not about paying Mensa, which is worrying.
Okay. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll ask what next now for Madam Penny Mensah, now that she's purportedly recanted her story. We'll be right back.
As young girls, we had dreams. Dreams to be a star, dreams to stand tall amongst our peers, and dreams to be Ghana's most beautiful.
Here we are as young girls, evolved into ladies and serving as role models to many. It has been a long journey, from the audition stages through to the live performances and eviction shows.
We must say It's been such an experience. From the low moments and the high moments, we have enjoyed every bit of this learning care.
From 16 down to 6 of us, the time for one of us to wear that prestigious crown is here, and we are super excited.
It is the grand finale of Ghana's Most Beautiful 2021, the most anticipated finale, and I can say that the ladies and I are super ready.
Yes, they are 6 beautiful, confident and smart ladies poised and ready for this year's Ghana's Most Beautiful finale. Come see your ladies battle it out for the crown, the car and a life of luxury and fame. Join us at the National Theatre of Ghana on the 3rd of October 2021 at 8 p.m. sharp. Tickets are going for 50 Ghana cedis. It's an all-ladies affair as we have 4 of Ghana's songbirds, Abiana, Sina Soul, Sefa and Adina. Don't miss this spectacular night with amazing music and dazzling performances from our final 6 ladies. Push your favorites to be crowned by dialing *713*13# or download the TV3 Reality app on Google Play Store or Apple Store now and vote. Ghana's Most Beautiful.
Rediscovering true beauty.
And is sponsored by Lavon's Tomato Mix, Camel now from Kerex, Freedom from Casapreco, GTP, Darling Lemon Drink, Airtel Tigo's Big Time Bundles, Lufat, Deluxe Acrylic Paint, Heaven Black Mosquito Spray and Coil, and Napa Mackerel, Geisha, Close Up, Ayo Insurance, Fan Milk Nutri-Day Yogurt, and supported by
Connect FM Watson Trade Fair in Chamakai or Badubio. Now, Fimosena, Jita was a greater, no was a boy in every ground so hot. Connect FM Watson Trade Fair or Shasu Kuda, 29 September, Nayu Kusida, 3rd October, what's up, Clademo, Nayamua. Company Sakasin and Jumokuka Kramba, and I want to offer in Naru baby. I was at on Mamana Katake Pa, Boloncho, Nasan for Tanasi, Francis Seramaya register away 0244 244 027 and 0545 572 856. Connect FM Watson Trade Fair. Kade, on your 29 September, 6th October, Water Cradamore, Nagin. And I'm working at Cradamore. Connect FM Watson Trade Fair. It's a fool and a bronya.
Ready, camera? Berla Mundi is a renowned Ghanaian media personality and women's advocate. She is passionate about social issues and takes exceptional interest in telling life-changing stories.
Can you believe through this Ababoya, I've been able to complete the University of Cape Coast.
Welcome to Asin Kushia. This is actually the cleanest city in Ghana.
Life is not a competition. Keep to the pace.
Action.
Welcome to the Day Show, guys.
The Day Show unravels life-threatening stories.
Before they can steal more babies, they need dead bodies to be showing parents that your baby is dead.
The passion, the fun, and sometimes not so very pleasant moments.
Yes, I have suicidal thoughts and homicidal thoughts.
Tell your story to inspire. After all, everyone has got one.
The Day Show with Berla Mundi now shows on Thursdays at 9 p.m. and repeats on Saturdays at 3 p.m. on TV3.
This Saturday on Music.
This year, we know come to play.
So are you ready for Unsigned Hype?
Too much calling, when my baby know they pick up.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sister Efia.
If I say I love you, no be say you're a fool.
You mentioned a while ago that you have a set period for music.
F-E-T.
Yes, clicks.
You see my back, Jaja. See my front, Jaja. Send you what that now you know. Send you what that now you know. Send you what that now you know.
Music shows every Saturday at 8 p.m. on TV3. Don't miss it.
I am so looking forward to speaking to Mommy Ekra Gazy. Help me welcome her on the show. Hey. Have you ever said to yourself that you don't have enough time in the day because you've got too many things to do?
Looking at blocking your time helps you to move away from the traditional to-do list, which can be frustrating. It can be underproductive.
I lost my job, so I was just contemplating what to do for a living before I get another job.
The corporate entity is not a thing that is hanging. It is made up of human beings. So when the human beings individually are struggling, that corporate entity struggles.
Today's Woman shows Sundays at 3 p.m. and repeat Wednesdays at 3 p.m. on TV3.
Welcome back, and some of your messages on Twitter and via WhatsApp line. I'll take some of them now. This one from a gentleman who terms his name Fix Ghana Now. Why are we only looking at the pregnancy but not at the kidnapping issues? The police are no more talking about whether the lady was indeed kidnapped. Our focus should be on the kidnapping issues, not the fake pregnancy. Well, the police have also said that the kidnapping was fake. This other message says, the kidnapped Takoradi woman saga remains unresolved for many of us as responsible citizens. My question is, was she missing? Was she indeed pregnant? Was she kidnapped? Is she having legal representation? We need to know. And that's from Aziz Inwa. Prince from Koforidua asks, on whose authority did the Western Regional Minister make payment to the alleged kidnappers of the Takoradi missing woman? If the minister hadn't spoken, we would have taken the police release as sacrosanct, but now it seems there's some politics in the case. Some of your other messages coming from WhatsApp says, the Western Regional Minister should allow the security agencies to do their work. The interference of ministers in security matters hurts the nation. This is the reason why sometimes people were shot at Ejura. That's from Osman in Tamale. From Johnny in Sunya, he says, to be honest, why can't the police complete their investigation before coming out with a final statement? It was the husband who reported that his wife was pregnant, not the wife. So it could be that the wife deceived the husband. Then why are they charging the man for criminal charges? The Western Regional, I think that one has come already, and this one from Baba at Nkoko. Good morning, TV3. Based on past experience on the 3 missing Takoradi girls, I don't consider the police's communique to be entirely true. She could have been forced to speak in their favor. We pray that we achieve a positive result at the end of the day. And I think those are your messages that have come through. So, Adib, in reference to this case, so what next now? Because we're told she's being held at the Central Police Station. There's a question of what then would they be charging her for, because fake pregnancy is it's not a criminally inclined accusation.
And then you can't even say deceit of public officer because she did not complain. She did not tell the police that she was pregnant.
So
what
I think
next?
That, okay, if they have to file charges against her, they can go ahead and do that. But I would have thought that the focus would be very much on whether she was kidnapped or not, or whether it was all staged. An attempt should also be made to ascertain whether she had support or help from somewhere, because I understand calls were made and some monies were paid, and that obviously is criminal, even though I'm not a lawyer. But when we concentrated very much on the pregnancy, it will not wash, because, I mean, it's a private issue. I mean, if I tell you I'm pregnant and the next minute you don't find a baby. I mean, it doesn't negate anything because it's my life, it's my choice, okay? So I think that the seeming over-concentration on the pregnancy is unfortunate. But most importantly, Jifa, going forward, the police has a lot of work to do in improving their image in the eyes of the public.
But haven't they been doing that? They've been giving regular updates on issues, issuing statements, trying to engage on social media, share with the public that they are watching and all that.
Okay, well, when you take a closer look at the 9 pillar principles of modern-day policing as opined by Sir Robert Peel, he founded the Metropolitan Police in the UK and later became the British Prime Minister. It's hinged on certain pillars, but cutting across all those pillars is your ability to get the buy-in of the population. The people should be made to realize that they mandated you to perform that service on their behalf and that the uniform you wear is provided by them. It has to go through, it has to go beyond the digital, means of reaching out to the people. We need the police in front of our doors, knocking on our businesses, asking us what our menacing security challenges are and what they can do to improve their service. That is why it's a service and not a force, okay? So they have to step out from the comfort of their offices, or you see them in, large Tundra, pickups going on patrols. They might be near you, but they are far away from you. So we need to see more of a police presence in these communities. And in criminology, we have what we call broken glass theory. It was propounded somewhere in the late 1980s. It's simply based on the premise that as minor as an offense it is for a glass to be broken, if you report to the police and nothing is done about that, tomorrow it might be a human being getting killed. So police should go beyond looking at people's faces before giving them the attention they need. All cases that comes before the police should be considered equal and should be dealt with as such, okay? Because currently, as it stands, I know of like 3-4 people who are victims of crime who have not even reported to the police. I sell security systems, and mostly when there's a home invasion, I go to help the clients play back, and they just keep the tape. And I ask them, but you have to report to the police, okay? And another point is, Ghanaians, a lot of Ghanaians are not reporting crimes to the police because of their personal safety, because we don't have a robust witness protection regime. So, because when they've announced 50,000 cedis, but the psychology behind the 50,000 cedis goes beyond the money. Before I give out information to the police, the first thing I look out for is my safety. Because you give out information and the next minute the whole community knows that you are the rats amongst us. So it's important that going forward, we need to have a robust witness protection regime that will be hinged on protecting the identity and ensuring security for people who come out with information to help the police make sense of the myriad of cases before them. And lastly, there's also the need for the police to have an anti-kidnap unit within the Ghana Police Service. You
think we've reached that stage now?
Because we are heading towards that stage, like in Nigeria. I mean, I have personally done a lot of research into kidnapping, especially in Nigeria. And kidnapping is one of the most virulent crimes when it comes to banditry. And we've had an influx. I'm not suggesting that all immigrants are criminals, but because of the influx of these people from other countries, especially Nigeria, some of them are criminals. You would realize that a lot of these kidnappings, okay, either would have a foreigner involved or that indirectly involved, okay, because they are transferring the knowledge to their Ghanaian counterparts. As a matter of fact, kidnapping is so un-Ghanaian. In the past, all we knew is you go to Circle, buy a phone, you get home and it's kiso. But now it has attained a different, character that is really putting a lot of fear into the Ghanaian population. So we need to stop it in this track.
The police mentioned in their statement that the Western region is getting known more and more for kidnapping.
Yeah.
So for you, a kidnapping unit. Is that what you call it?
Yes, an anti-kidnapping
unit
exactly.
is important.
It's very important. And you know, development comes with its own challenges. Crime would definitely go back because, I mean, go up because the Western region is becoming a melting pot of activities, you know, with different people from all walks of life and from all across the subcontinent converging there. All right, and Sikabefi, there's money in the Western region. I mean, a lot of people have been lifted up, you know, within the social structure because of the oil find and, of course, the business
and the services that have been
so
made.
It is a lucrative, it's emerging to be a lucrative market for kidnappers. And there's a psychology behind kidnapping as well. It thrives where it is condoned. So when you kidnap and people pay, that is why I find it quite unfortunate that 3,000 cedis was paid, you know, because you are motivating the crime. You are motivating more and more people to go into kidnapping as an easier way of making money fast.
Yes, Nana.
I agree that, and that is also one gap with the Ghana Police Service and policing in Ghana. What are the crime trends? Because when I read the papers and go on social media, I see kidnapping is occurring more and more, and it's occurring throughout the country. Just before I came, I was checking, there's kidnapping in Savannah region, kidnapping in Oti region, kidnapping in Ashanti region, and these are just cursory reports on the media, and then also Western region. And it is the duty and responsibility of the police to provide Ghanaians with information on these crime trends so that it advises us on our daily business as we're going. Armed robbery is also a big issue because I'm sure you've seen the video
of these
motor guys on motor bikes. I mean, it's just like they're picking up a delivery, a package. They just drive and then it's interesting that whoever was driving the car, the doors were not locked and all that. But if the police had provided information on, okay, armed robbery, they may not even say armed robbery is increasing, but offer tips through social media, etc., to Ghanaians on how to address armed robbery, I mean, and then also the issue of kidnapping. I remember there was one police officer, I've forgotten his name, he used to have a column in some of the newspapers, and he used to offer, is it Tete? I think he is called
Freeman Tete
and all that. And we need to overhaul the policing in Ghana. If we've had several commissions of inquiry, commissions. We had the one I can remember is the Justice Archer. He was the former Chief Justice of Ghana. And that was during the late flight, Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings, around there, where we had some police reform. He set up a commission. I think 2 police officers complained about policing, and there was a commission set up, and there have been some reforms. I also remember IGP Namfuri setting up DOFSU in the late 1990s. I recall IGP Al Hassan also with this community policing and visibility. I know he came up with the visibility, and also I don't know which IGP, but PIPS, the institution under police that you can report police misconduct.
But they don't do much.
It's also been decentralized.
But they don't do much. You take your issue there, the policeman will be sent on peacekeeping and your case will be stillborn.
But at least, and I think we've reached, especially with IT, technology, social media, and all that, and the present emerging crime trends. It's time, I'm hoping IGP Dampari sits down and then comes up with some massive major reforms that will change the face of the police. But very urgently, the communication outfit of the police needs to be overhauled. It is totally unacceptable that ACP Kwesi Fori will refuse to provide information in a timely manner to Ghanaians when we face such a precarious situation as kidnapping. That is totally callous on his part as an ACP who has even been in that position. He was in charge of...
he was the director for public affairs.
So
now he's Director General.
He has experience, so he has no... Kwesi Fori has absolutely no excuse to behave the way he's behaving. We have regional PROs for police throughout. He should give them the power to also speak. They are professionals, they have been trained, and they can speak. I know Irene, Central Region, I know Tenge, and several others who have worked well. Kwesi Fori should allow them to do their job and to speak. We Ghanaians want a situation in Ghana where we have law and order and security. Our security is assured. The police have a duty to provide us with information. ACP Kwesi Fori cannot sit there and decide who should speak, which regional officer should speak, which one should not speak, and decide what sort of information he can give Ghanaians. He is a public officer, and he should do his work of providing us information. People are being kidnapped, and we want information from the police so that we go on our daily business. Now, and he should sit up and do exactly that.
Now, in reference to the Takoradi woman, I was asking the next steps for her, because now she's in the custody of the police at the Central Police Station, we are told. Can she be prosecuted for deceit of a public officer?
I doubt whether that would would actually succeed. The police have a duty to investigate and prosecute, so they should do their work. What we are saying is that she needs medical help. She needs a clinical psychologist. She needs social welfare. And they are all state institutions that are ready, willing, and able to help.
But
I know
if we do that, Honorable Bampoado, it may then, for want of a better way of putting it into, I don't want to sound insensitive, it may seem as if she may be getting away with making these false claims, which is what we don't want.
The prosecution, the investigation and prosecution can go on. We're not saying it shouldn't go on. What we're saying is that it should be approached in a holistic and comprehensive manner, because the Constitution, Article 18, and also guarantees her rights as a suspect. She has rights as a suspect. And so if she has mental health needs, if she has medical needs, if she needs a clinical psychologist, or they need to do a social inquiry report to assess her circumstances, the police who she's in the custody of the police, they ought to provide her those services. And that is what I am recommending, that the investigation, the prosecution, and her needs should be addressed in a holistic manner, and information and communication to the public should be done in a strategic way, so that the public, the trust of the police is restored, the trust that the public have in the police is restored, and we get timely, relevant information, and we trust the information to be true. Having regard to the circumstances now, and even to the public comments that you have read out on this program, we can see it is obvious that Ghanaians do not trust the police in terms of the information they are churning out with respect to this particular case. And we need to roll that back, and the police need to assess and come up with information that Ghanaians would trust.
And Jifa, you know, I spoke about the need for an anti-kidnapping unit. I mean, modern technology grants us endless opportunities to be able to confront emergent crimes. There's a technology called triangulation. Anywhere you go with your phone, it communicates with cell sites. Okay, so from a command and control unit, they are able to tell where you are at any point in time. So if there's a kidnapping, obviously the kidnappers would make an attempt to get in touch with the victim's family. Do we make any attempt to find out where the calls are coming from? Because so far as I'm concerned, with the Takoradi girls, I understand the kidnappers spoke with the family, with the police for a number of days. Okay, so I'm sure that if we had followed up on that,
you need a court order to get phone records.
That is the problem. Yes, that is the challenge. You need an expert motion. Yes. So what in essence happens is the police would make a request to the court. So the court would write to the various telcos, and usually when you take it to the telcos, it takes them at least a week to provide you with that information. And we have the systems. Look, we have the systems to track without requiring a court order. But well, maybe the systems are reserved for some few.
But in the interest of the right to privacy
and the right to information, sorry, not right to information, the data protection law.
But you see, special circumstance, or how did they even say?
I mean, requires
special,
So at least then the telco should have a certain timeline. If it's under these situations, maybe within 24 hours,
going through the court system and all that. Because, for example, if there's a hostage situation and you need to tap, do you have to go through the court process?
Well, you still have to follow due process.
You have to strike the balance between privacy and security. There's absolutely no way in any part of the world to ensure absolute security without tampering with privacy.
But that right is not absolute. The Constitution takes care of those exceptions. So public order, safety, security, and all that. So I'm sure the security services have
Yes, but there was a criticism, though, that the inability to secure the records to determine the number that made the phone call was part of the reason why even she had disappeared for a much lengthier period.
But what about there's a lady in Kumasi who I think she works with either the Lands Commission in Kumasi or the Land Valuation
in the
Board.
Eastern region, the wife of an academic at KNUST.
Yes, the wife of a lecturer.
In the Eastern region, yes.
And up till now,
we've not heard
anything. I'm sure it's been the family or her friends and others who have been posting regularly on social media. I think I've read a police statement, also one, but we have not had any updates. So it's interesting that with the Western region one, we are having like every 12 hours, we're having updates, and then with the other kidnapping, because I do remember this lady, there was even a vigil and all that. We are not hearing anything from the police, and this is my concern about the communication from the, because this is something that the Eastern region PRO could have handled. And so what is happening? Why is there a fixation and 120% interest? I'm not saying there shouldn't be an interest, but we see the contrast of police communication, whereas with this lady in Eastern region, Land Valuation or Lands Commission, we
haven't seen much.
We are not seeing any, we are not hearing how the investigation is going on, what is happening, nothing. So that's where I am saying that the police are being on the defensive with this particular Western region case, and they just want to project a supposed good image, which is not right.
Okay. We take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Let's Go Farming. Show Saturdays at 4 p.m. on TV3.
This Saturday on Music.
This year, we know come to play.
So are you ready for Unsigned Hype?
Too much calling. When my baby know they pick up.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sister Efia.
If I say I love you, no be say you're a fool.
You mentioned a while ago that you have a period, a set period for music.
S-E-T.
Yes, flex.
You see my back, Jaja. See my front, Jaja. Said you wet that, now you know. Said you wet that, now you know. Said you wet that, now you know.
Music shows every Saturday at 8 p.m. on TV3. Don't miss it.
God bless you. I greet you in the name of He who died and arose on the third day, Jesus Christ of Nazareth, to pull you out of darkness into His marvelous light. Join me on this station, a word that will move you to your next dimension, a word that will break every chain. And I promise you, you will encounter power, you will encounter fire, you will encounter light.
Voice of the Eagle shows every Sunday at 7 a.m. on TV3.
Skipping breakfast is not ideal because you may end up missing some essential nutrients and also end up snacking all throughout the day. So hop on the Fat to Fit train and lose weight the right way. Lego!
The stage is set. The battle lines have been drawn.
Are you going to play or you're ready for an offer to go home? You're going to play. Type of free kick in which a player can score a goal directly. No, you got it wrong.
Are you ready to be part of the thrills, fireworks and excitement as the three tussle to win big and chip away part of the mega 250,000 Ghana cedis cash from the boss?
2,600. You've done very well.
Disappointed.
Disappointed? Yeah. Hey, catchy.
The Game Show shows Sundays at 4 p.m. on TV3.
The Boss TV Game Show, proudly brought to you by G Money.
And you're welcome back. Let's just read some comments before we wrap up here. And these comments, this one coming from Abdul Razak from Boku. All the brouhaha surrounding the kidnapped Takoradi woman is very dramatic, and all hopes lie in the hands of the police. So we wait for them to do justice in bringing matters to rest. This one from Albert Kweku at Ashale Butre. Please, as to whether the lady was pregnant or not, or whether she got missing or not and was finally found by the carpenter, I would rather encourage the husband to take legal action against the hospital, the regional minister, and the police. And on Twitter, this one from David says, good morning. Contradictory responses are being given by the parties, that is the police, the regional minister, the woman, and the residents, all providing different scenarios. From my point of view, she may have been coerced to say what she's now saying, and the evidence adduced may be vindicating the police. And so we have the timeline of how all of this went down. This whole week has been engulfed by this whole issue. But looking at what we have, we see that it started off with her reported missing in Takoradi. Then reports emerged about kidnappers demanding a ransom while holding her hostage. Then the police also declared her missing. A team of 40 policemen were dispatched to find her, but we know that it is one person who found her eventually and later on contacted the police. And days later, she was also found at a church premises, reportedly unable to speak and purportedly without her pregnancy. So let's wrap up. But I think one of the key issues we need certainly to get some closure on is why the regional minister would offer money for the kidnapping. Could it also be that this was meant to be a bait to trap the individuals involved?
Which individual?
Those involved in the kidnapping.
You see, whatever it is, I would expect that the Regional Security Council, led by the regional minister, would work in tandem with the Ghana Police Service. Obviously, from the facts coming up, it's obvious that, well, the police are saying they were not aware. They are saying they haven't received any money. The regional minister is saying that he gave, or his aide is saying that he gave money. So I see that they were not working, perhaps they were not working together. And I know the police, regional police commander is also a member of RegSec. So I don't really know what is happening with that. And I think it would be better if they sorted it out in private. I mean, within their official circles. But for the aide to the regional minister to be, I don't know whether he was on radio or TV.
It was radio.
But for this to become public also has creates a further dent in this public mistrust of the police and security services.
And the management of the
and the management of communication. So it would be better if they sorted that out amongst the two state institutions, because it doesn't augur well, especially coming from the Western region. In terms of what I am saying is that whatever the case is, whether fake pregnancy, not fake pregnancy, whether kidnapping or not kidnapping, for even a woman to go through this whole length of perhaps faking a pregnant or what, it shows that there is a fundamental problem. It could be medical, it could be psychiatric, it could be psychological. So there's a need for some assistance. And Ghanaians would have been felt assured that the woman's interest, Penny Mensah's interest, was being catered for if the police had included a sentence or two of that aspect of their that in their statement, that she has a lawyer, so she's being represented. There's a medical team who is looking after her social, psychiatric and all that. That would have helped. They should go ahead with their investigation and possible prosecution. Nobody is saying they shouldn't. But at the end of the day, Ghanaians want to know exactly what happened.
If she's prosecuted and is taken to court and she recants once again the claims that she faked the pregnancy, faked the kidnapping, to what extent would that probably harm the prosecuting process against her?
No, the issue is that...
Because she could easily say, I was forced to say this.
The issue is that she needs legal, at this point in time, she needs legal, even for the police, in the interest of the police and in the interest of their investigation and their prosecution. It would be in their interest to reach out to the legal aid board and request for a pro bono, a lawyer for her. If FIDA is also in Western region, or there, I know the Ghana Bar Association is in Western region, and with our new Ghana Bar president, this is the first case that he should take up to ensure that lawyers also also engage in some civic responsibility and provide services to this to Penny Mensah. So she should get legal representations in the interest of the police, and then also psychologists and a medical. So we will want the police to have a more multi-sectorial team to address this. Psychologists, doctors, and then they can go ahead with their investigation and prosecution.
Okay, yes, I do.
And it's also in the best interest of the police to ensure all these are done, because there are instances where you have evidence against a suspect, yet the court throws it out because of the manner in which the evidence was even acquired. Okay, so the right processes has to be followed. And talking about the regional minister, I mean, there's absolutely no way, under no circumstance, should a minister take a security decision without recourse to the structures on the ground with respect to the Regional Security Council. And this is quite common. That is why it's important that after ministers are appointed, they really need to be trained. Remember what happened in the Ashanti region with the Ejura incident? Just because someone called him, we don't know who, Was it an intelligence source? We don't know. Someone called him and said there was chaos. And so he decided to also call the military in. So they really need training. But overall, this gives me the opportunity to say hello to one Inspector Francis Kwesi Zaglago. He's a police officer who have received information is doing marvelously well. A lady with her family were moving with children, and the way he interviewed the children to ascertain whether they were the parents, the lady says they were very impressed, and he is worth mentioning for the great work he's doing.
Thank you very much.
And I also mentioned my good friend Teku, and also
Simon Teku.
Teku,
yes,
and then Patience Quay and all the others who have really.
I mean, there are great officers out there
really
doing lots of work.
And Joe of Dofsu.
Yeah,
the Dofsu team are also doing very throughout the country actually.
Yeah. So we just want more. So yes, that's what it is. So thanks very much. Many thanks to our guest, Honorable Oye Bampoado. Many thanks to you, Adib Sani, as well for joining us. You've been watching the Key Points live from TV3 and 3FM 92.7, and also on 3news.com. You've been following us on our Facebook page. Many thanks to all of you for sending your messages for our 2 topics. It's been a very, very packed show. We will join you again next Saturday. Coming up next, of course, is Warm Up Plus. Thank you for being with me, and I'll be here next week. Enjoy your weekend.
Hi, so have you been trying to lose weight and you found it very difficult? Well, I used to be like you. I used to weigh 130 kilograms, and now for the last 5 years, I've maintained a weight of 70 kilograms. I'm very positive that when you join us on the Season 8 Prudential Life 3FM Fat to Fit Challenge, we'll be able to help you to lose weight the right way. So don't waste too much time. We're starting on 2nd October. WhatsApp the number below for us to help you to lose weight the right way. Fat to Fit, lose weight the right way.
Hop on the Fat to Fit train and lose weight the right way.
Lego!
Eating at regular times during the day helps you burn calories faster and reduces the temptation of you snacking on foods that are high in sugar and fats. Hop on the Fat to Fit train and lose weight the right way. Lego!
It's been 11 amazing weeks of authentic cultural display on GMB, a display of diverse knowledge, fun and exciting content by our beautiful ladies. As we gear up to the finals, let's take you back to the inception of GMB 21, where it all started. The grand launch at the Independence Square and in the studio of TV3, where the ladies showed us what their region was made of, to the weekly task, which brought out the creativity in our ladies, the celebrations, storytelling, tourism, fashion and many more. Make a date with us this Sunday as we bring back some interesting highlights from previous episodes. We will also hear from some evicted contestants, judges and our finalists. Keep voting for your favorite contestants. Kindly note, there will be no live audience this Sunday as we journey back in preparations for the finale. GMB 21, rediscovering true beauty. GMB 2021 shows Sundays 8 p.m. and repeats Fridays at 3 p.m. and is sponsored by Lavon's Tomato Mix, Camel now from Kerex, Freedom from Casaprecon, GTP, Darling Lemon Drink, Airtel Tigo's Big Time Bundles,
Lufat,
Deluxy Acrylic Paint, Heaven Black Mosquito Spray and Coil, and Napa Mackerel,
Geisha, Close Up,
Ayo Insurance, Fun Milk Nutri-Day Yogurt, and supported by
Try to plan your meals for the week, so that's breakfast, lunch, supper, and your snacks, so that you can stick to your calorie allowance. Hop on the Fat to Fit train and lose weight the right way. Let go.
Hi, my name is AJ Pals. A to the J Pals. Me from Ajua. I'm Ajua of Ghana's Most Beautiful Season 5, 2011. Together we are Ghana's Most Beautiful United.
Hi, my name is Hiba Tala Al Hassan, stage name Hiba. I represented Northern Region in the maiden edition of GMB. Do you remember when Esinu shaved her hair, Santo? I mean the shiny one. What of when she swallowed the egg? Well, you'll be seeing us very soon. So stay on alert and watch out.
Hello, I'm Bambi Sam and I represented the Central Region in GMB 2010 Season 4. On the 9th of October, we are inviting you all for a cooking competition at the Junction Mall. Pocho, yes, one brand one business. Nezabana Zizi.
Hi everyone, this is Sim, Ghana's Most Beautiful 2007 very maiden edition. We are so happy to present to you the United Queens of GMB. We are also very happy to let you know that we are going to do our mega lunch on the 7th of October and another wonderful thing, which is a cooking competition on the 9th of October at the Junction Mall. Do not miss this.
Hello Ghana, my name is Queen Hiba, first runner-up Ghana's Most Beautiful 2016, the Legacy Edition. You remember, right? I represented the Northern Region. We are here come 7th October 2021 to launch our project, the United Queens of GMB. This is our new brand. This brand seeks to endeavor into all social interventions. Please, when we come to your doors knocking for assistance, be ready to assist us. We are here to give back to Ghana just the way you supported us before. Until then, it's bye for now. United Queens of GMB. Yay!
Hello, my name is Nana Ekia Asante Apple, second runner-up Ghana's Most Beautiful 2017, straight out of Ghana.
Watch out for the official launch of the United Queens of GMB on the 7th of October. I know you'll be so excited to see all the past queens back again. So watch out for our official launch. GMB United!
We are the United Queens of GMB. Yay!